September 2019, 40-year-old Stephen Weber Jr. and his girlfriend Kenesha Antoine set off on what was supposed to be the most joyful trip of their lives. The couple flew to Pemba Island, excited for sun, ocean views, and a moment Stephen had been secretly planning for months. A proposal she'd never forget. When they arrived at the Manta Resort just off the coast, everything seemed perfect. Their private room floated above the sea with an open rooftop deck for stargazing and sweeping views of turquoise water in every direction. But the real showpiece was below. Fish drifted by at eye level, and the soft shifting light of the ocean turned the room into something out of a dream. That underwater room was a centerpiece of Stephen's plan. At some point during their stay, he slipped on a pair of swimming goggles, took a deep breath, and dove down outside the submerged windows where Kenesha was relaxing. She instinctively grabbed her phone to record, laughing as he swam up to the glass. Then he pressed something against the window, a handwritten note sealed in a clear plastic bag. On it, he had written, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you, but everything I love about you, I love more every day." It was playful, romantic, and perfectly matched the moment. As he held the paper steady, he flipped the note around to reveal the second message, the one everything had led up to. On the back, in big letters, it read, "Will you please be my wife?"
Oh, it's so cute. What?
He followed it with a final touch, holding up a ring box to the glass so she could see the engagement ring he had chosen. You can see his hand trembling in the footage, a mix of nerves, excitement, and his lungs begging for air. After a few seconds, he pushed away from the window, turning to swim back up toward the surface to finally hear her answer. Kenesha stopped recording and hurried up to the upper deck, ready to shout yes and embrace him, but when she reached the surface and looked around, something was very wrong. The water was calm. There was no splash, no voice calling back, no sign of Stephen anywhere. She checked the rooftop, peered over the sides, calling his name again and again, but the sea gave no response. Panic took over as the realization slowly sank in. He should have surfaced already. She called for help, and resort staff and locals rushed to assist, scanning the water and diving into search. After precious time slipped away, they finally found him. Stephen was floating in the water, unresponsive. Resort workers tried desperately to revive him with CPR, but he never came back. Investigators later concluded that he had misjudged his breath-holding ability and the distance he had to swim. Those final seconds when his body screamed for air, he stayed under just a little too long, determined to complete the romantic gesture. His proposal worked. Kenesha later said she would have said yes 1,000 times over, but Stephen never got to hear it. What was meant to be a beautiful memory became an irreversible tragedy, captured on video from the first joyful moment to the last time he was seen alive. July 30th, 2025 was supposed to be forgettable in the best way. A regular midweek summer day, work, heat, and then for thousands of people in Taif, Saudi Arabia, escape. Families drove out to Green Mountain Park looking for cool air, bright lights, and a few hours where life felt simple again. The place was packed. You had carnival music drifting over the hill, bright signs glowing through the dusk, the sound of rides rumbling overhead while youngsters laughed and ran past food stalls. Somewhere in the middle of all that noise and light stood one of the park's main attractions, a towering pendulum ride known as the 360. Made almost entirely of steel, the 360 looked like a monument to engineering. A huge arm swung back and forth like a giant clock hand, with a ring of seats bolted to a circular platform at the bottom. Riders sat in rows facing outward, secured by thick harnesses and heavy restraints. When the machine started up, that platform didn't just swing, it rotated, flipping riders completely upside down and hurling them through the air while they dangled hundreds of feet above the ground. It was the kind of ride you watched before you got on, telling yourself you'd be brave when it was your turn. It was also one of the most popular rides in the entire park, a magnet for thrill seekers and nervous first-timers trying to prove something to themselves. As evening settled in on July 30th, another full group strapped in. Every single seat was taken. You had teenagers, adults, parents, people laughing with fake bravado while they locked their restraints and waited for that first lurch. From the ground, parents and friends recorded on their phones, zooming in on swinging legs and upside-down silhouettes. The operators walked the line, tugged on shoulder bars, checked belts, and then stepped back. A hand signal, a button pressed, the ride grew into life. At first, everything looked normal. The arm swung gently, almost lazily, gaining height with every pass. The circular platform spun as it rose, lifting the riders higher into the night sky. Screams and laughter mixed with the rhythmic whine of the machinery. To anyone watching, it was just another cycle of one of the park's most reliable attractions. But buried deep inside the steel was a problem no one could see. Years of operation had slowly eaten away at the ride's strength. Every swing, every full load of riders, every violent change in direction had pushed microscopic cracks deeper into the metal. What started as tiny fractures inside the central support column had grown over time, spreading like veins through the steel. That column, the single pole, tasked with carrying the entire weight of the arm and platform, was no longer what its designers thought it was. Somewhere up there, as the ride continued to swing, the metal was complaining in faint, sharp snaps that were totally drowned out by music, engines, and human voices. To the riders, nothing felt wrong. They were too busy screaming with adrenaline as they were hurled backward, then pulled forward and flipped upside down. To the people filming, it looked like a normal thrill ride, doing exactly what it was built to do. But the reality was that every pass through the air was one step closer to failure. Then it happened. In a fraction of a second, the central support pole gave out. The column that held everything together suddenly fractured, splitting under the load it could no longer carry. The brakes sent a violent shudder through the entire structure, and the huge pendulum arm tore away from the mainframe while it was still mid-swing. In that split second, the 360 was no longer a controlled ride. It was a free-falling wreck with 23 people bolted to it. The platform, still rotating, swung upward one last time, with nothing connecting it to the tower. Riders felt themselves thrown forward, hanging in midair as gravity paused for a single horrifying heartbeat. Harnesses dug into shoulders, legs flailed uselessly. Screams flipped from thrilled to terrified as everyone realized that something had gone terribly, impossibly wrong. Then the platform dropped. The ring of seats slammed toward the ground, still spinning as it fell. Miraculously, the structure hit the concrete relatively flat, spreading the force across the entire frame instead of slamming one side first. That one detail may have been the difference between a massive fatality and what followed. But even a flat impact from that height is brutal. Body weight crashed against restraints designed for controlled motion, not for a sudden dead stop. People's necks snapped forward. Bones took the brunt of forces they were never meant to endure. Around the ride, it turned instantly from a scene of fun to chaos. The remaining sections of the shattered support pole didn't simply crumble in place. Metal fragments and heavy pieces of steel flew outward, striking people who had been standing nearby just moments earlier, casually recording the ride or waving at friends. Some dropped their phones as they were hit. Others kept filming without even realizing they were capturing the aftermath of a disaster in real time. The screams from the fallen platform mixed with those from the crowd, turning the entire area into a wall of panic. Within moments, calls went out to emergency services. The Saudi Red Crescent Authority was alerted, and park staff scrambled to unbuckle harnesses and free the injured from the twisted frame. People on the ground used whatever they had: hands, belts, shirts, to help steady bleeding riders and try to keep them conscious until medical help arrived. Every single person on board suffered some kind of injury. 4 of them were in critical condition and needed urgent treatment just to have a chance. They weren't the only victims. Several people who had been standing near the ride were hit by sections of broken metal and debris. For them, this hadn't even been a choice. They weren't thrill seekers, they were simply standing in the wrong place at the wrong time when the ride failed. In the days that followed, the relief of survival was shadowed by loss. One of the injured passed away from her wounds 20 days after the accident. For a family, what started as a simple evening of summer fun had turned into a slow, agonizing vigil that ended in tragedy. Green Mountain Park was shut down on orders from the regional governor, Prince Saad bin Nahar bin Saad bin Abdulaziz. What had once been a centerpiece attraction now stood silent, a twisted, broken frame of steel at the center of an empty park, cordoned off with tape and surrounded by investigators. Teams began the painstaking work of trying to answer the questions everyone was asking. Was this metal fatigue that had gone unnoticed? Was maintenance skipped? Were warnings ignored? Was there a hidden design flaw waiting to fail from the day the ride was built? Until those answers come out, the only certainty is this: one ordinary summer evening, a rider meant to bring joy became the source of life-changing injuries and loss. And the 360 now serves as a brutal reminder that when a system this large fails, it doesn't just fail the people strapped into the seats, it fails everyone who trusted it with their lives. MYUU is a travel-focused YouTube channel that for a few years quietly uploaded typical adventure vlogs, shots of airports, scenic coastal dives, and cheerful commentary about new countries and cultures. Out of roughly 30 uploads, nearly all of them feel harmless and familiar, except for one. That particular video is nothing like the others. It documents a technical dive at the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt, a site widely regarded as one of the deadliest diving locations in the world, depending on which record you consult. Somewhere between 130 and 200 divers have lost their lives there, which averages out to around 8 deaths every year. Many of those who vanish in its depths are never brought back to the surface. That brutal reality is exactly what makes MYUU's footage so unsettling. At first, the dive looks normal, bubbles rise, sunlight filters down in blue beams, and the divers descend in an eerie slow motion. But as Joe and his friends go deeper, the atmosphere shifts. One by one, they begin to pass the ghostly remains of other divers, scattered oxygen tanks resting against rock, abandoned weight belts, torn wetsuits hanging like empty skins, and equipment wedged into narrow cracks in the stone. Each piece of gear raises the same chilling question: where is the person who once wore this? Many of the items are coated in algae or resting in silt, suggesting they have been down there for years, claiming their place in the underwater graveyard. The deeper they go, the more the environment itself seems to warn them away. Technical diving is dangerous even in ideal conditions. Divers must haul multiple heavy tanks just to begin. Then they must constantly track their depth, gas levels, and decompression limits while calmly navigating an alien landscape. A single lapse in focus, one miscalculation can turn deadly in seconds. The Blue Hole amplifies all this. From the surface, it looks deceptively peaceful, just a circular patch of deep blue and otherwise shallow water. But beneath that calm surface is an almost vertical shaft, dropping to around 426 feet or roughly 130 meters. There are no obvious visual markers to show how deep you truly are. That illusion has fooled even experienced divers, luring them farther and farther down until their gas mixture becomes toxic. Their minds fog under nitrogen narcosis and their bodies fail before they can ascend. One of the best-known victims is 22-year-old instructor Yuri Lipsky, who filmed his final dive as he descended too quickly, struggled to control his buoyancy, and suffered nitrogen poisoning within minutes. But depth isn't the Blue Hole's only danger. As MYUU's video shows, the area is riddled with a maze of partially collapsed caves and tight passages. These caves look like incredible places to explore: smooth rock arches, dramatic tunnels, and beams of light slicing through the dark. In reality, they are traps. A diver can easily snag a tank on a jagged edge, kick up silt that blinds everyone behind them, or squeeze into a passage they cannot back out of. If a diver becomes stuck or disoriented, rescuers may not be able to reach them safely, and many families ultimately decide to leave their loved ones where they rest rather than risk more lives. That's why Joe and his friends encountered so many pieces of equipment with no one attached. Every tank and torn suit in that footage is not just debris, it's a reminder that for some divers, the Blue Hole really was the last thing they ever saw. This footage comes from the Jerusalem Mountains in Israel, on one of those twisting roads that cut between rock walls and steep drops. You see two cyclists riding along the edge, completely focused on the climb and the traffic ahead. Then a car suddenly appears, swerving across the center line and missing them by what feels like a heartbeat. If that driver had drifted just a fraction of a second earlier or later, those cyclists would almost certainly have been hit head-on. Watching the clip back, it's hard not to think about how thin the line is between a close call and a tragedy. The part that makes it worse is what the driver does afterward. He doesn't stop. He doesn't pull over to check on them, he just keeps going as if nothing happened, leaving the cyclists to process how close they came to being thrown off their bikes or worse. Thankfully, the clip doesn't end there. Police open an investigation, track down the vehicle, and bring the driver in for questioning. Traffic measures are taken against him and he is expected to face formal charges for his actions. It doesn't undo what almost happened, but at least there is some accountability for how recklessly he drove on a road where a small mistake could have meant 2 lives lost. Braden, who lives deep within the Appalachian Mountains, was jolted awake in the middle of the night by a series of strange noises coming from the upstairs bedroom. Still groggy and trying to process what he was hearing, he picked up his phone and began recording before making his way toward the staircase, unsure if he was dealing with an intruder, an animal, or something far stranger.
What the fuck? Wow, it's really bad right now.
What he captured, however, wasn't the sound of settling wood or shifting pipes. It was something much more chilling. On the recording, a voice calls his name, his own voice, coming from the top of the stairs.
Okay, hold up. Why is the tree on that? Whatever that is coming from up here. Should I attempt to go in there? Fuck. Because that was coming, all that thumping, it was coming from like right in there, in that room.
Come up here for a sec, man.
What the f? What the fuck was that? You guys, did I just hear that right?
Get up here now.
Okay.
The tone is eerily perfect, neither distorted nor muffled, carrying the same cadence he hears every time he speaks. The audio is unmistakably human, yet impossibly unnatural. It isn't an echo, isn't a glitch, and doesn't resemble any type of distortion a phone might produce by accident. Braden is convinced it was a mimic, something in the house imitating his voice with disturbing accuracy. But what do you think? If he faked this, how would he replicate a perfect, undistorted second version of his own voice? On May 26, 2013, 3 tugboats were working together in rough seas about 20 miles, 32 kilometers off the coast of Nigeria. Their job was to steady and position an oil tanker during a harsh storm, fighting powerful waves and unpredictable swells. One of those vessels, the Jaskin 4, was in the thick of it when a massive rogue wave slammed into its side with brutal force. Within seconds, the tugboat was overwhelmed, rolled, and dragged beneath the surface. It sank so fast that there was almost no time for the crew to react. From above, the Jaskin 4 simply vanished into the churning water. West African Ventures, the company operating the ships, immediately launched a search effort, but the violent weather turned rescue attempts into a nightmare. They sent a helicopter to look for survivors who might have managed to escape and reach the surface, but after a full day of searching, they found no one alive. With each passing hour, hope faded. Eventually, the company shifted its focus from rescue to recovery, assuming that the crew had all perished. The job of recovering the bodies fell to 6 saturation divers who were already working in the area laying underwater oil pipes. They were chosen simply because they were the closest team with the right equipment, but reaching the wreck still took them about a day. By then, the ocean had pushed the sunken vessel far from where it originally went down. When they finally located the Jaskin 4, they discovered it lying upside down on the seafloor, precariously balanced on its mainmast. The mast itself looked unstable, and any wrong move could cause the wreck to shift or collapse, making everything more difficult. The vessel's doors and hatches had all been locked to deter pirates in the region. That meant the divers couldn't just swim in. They had to cut their way through using underwater torches and tools while carefully managing their own safety in the dark, cluttered interior. By the afternoon of May 28th, 2 days after the sinking, they had recovered the bodies of 4 crew members. 2 were still missing. As far as everyone involved was concerned, they were searching for remains, not survivors. Then something happened that no one was expecting. One of the divers, Tony Walker, was moving methodically through the overturned corridors, guided by instructions from his supervisor, Kobe Verrett, who monitored the dive and spoke to him from the surface. Because Tony was breathing a helium-based gas mixture, his voice sounded high-pitched and distorted over the comms, almost surreal against the grim backdrop. As he navigated through a narrow passageway, his helmet light caught something pale in the dark. what looked like a human head floating just above the debris. Assuming it belonged to yet another deceased crew member, he reached out to confirm, but the moment he touched it, the hand clenched around his, gripped him. For a split second, Tony froze, realizing that the body he had approached wasn't lifeless at all. Someone down there was still alive.
So you should be walking on the ceiling, yeah? Okay. What's that? Okay. All right, you found one, yeah? He's alive. He's alive. Okay, keep him there. Keep him there. All right. Just. All right. Just hold him there, okay? Just keep him there. Oh, I don't know what we're gonna do. All right, just keep him there and keep him calm, okay? All right, just reassure him, pat him on the shoulder. Okay.
The man holding his hand was 29-year-old Harrison O'Keene, the Jaskin Forest resident chef. Against all odds, Harrison had survived for more than 60 hours, trapped in an air pocket inside the overturned vessel. When the boat capsized, he had been in the bathroom. Water rushed in violently, sweeping crew members away and flooding compartment after compartment. Harrison instinctively moved toward higher ground as the boat filled, eventually finding a small piece where air was trapped, forming a pocket above the rising water. He cobbled together a makeshift platform from a mattress, plywood, and whatever else floated around him, trying to keep as much of his body out of the freezing water as possible. He spent more than 2.5 days in that cramped, pitch-black space, hearing distant noises, feeling the hull creak, smelling fuel and oil, and having no idea if anyone would ever come. He rationed the air around him, conserved his energy, and prayed, fully expecting that he might die without anyone knowing he had made it that far. When Tony found him, Harrison was cold, exhausted, and mentally frayed, but remarkably alert. The divers quickly gave him fresh water and attached a harness so he wouldn't drift away in the darkness. But rescuing him was far more complicated than simply pulling him to the surface. Harrison had been sitting at depth in a high-pressure environment for over 60 hours. If they yanked him straight up, the rapid decompression could have caused deadly gas bubbles to form in his bloodstream, a condition known as decompression sickness or the bends, which can paralyze or kill a person. Clock was also ticking. The air pocket Harrison had been using was running out and would likely become unbreathable within an hour. The dive team had to act quickly and precisely. Fortunately, because they were saturation divers, they had access to specialized equipment that most standard dive teams do not. They placed Harrison into a pressurized diving bell attached to their support vessel, effectively moving him from one controlled pressure environment to another. Once they reached the surface, they transferred him to a decompression chamber, where the pressure was reduced slowly under medical supervision. Physically, Harrison survived with no lasting injuries, but the psychological impact was immense. Being alone in an upside-down boat on the ocean floor for more than 2 days, surrounded by darkness and the knowledge that his coworkers had not made it, left him with deep trauma and PTSD continues to work through. His survival is often described as miraculous, but it also underscores just how unforgiving the ocean can be and how thin the line is between a body recovered and an impossible rescue. July 5th, 2009, Walt Disney World in Florida was still buzzing long after dark. Fireworks smoke hung over the Magic Kingdom. Families shuffled toward hotel buses, clutching souvenirs, and those who were done with walking relied on one of the most familiar sights on Disney property, the sleek, elevated monorail gliding through the night. The monorail wasn't built to thrill. It wasn't a drop ride or a coaster. It was a quiet workhorse meant to shuttle guests from park to park and back to their rooms. Installed in 1971, the system slowly grew more complex as Disney expanded. What started as a simple loop became 3 separate lines by the late 1980s, with trains crisscrossing between the Magic Kingdom, resorts, and Epcot. Hidden in that web of beams and switches was a maintenance shortcut, a connecting track that allowed trains to move between loops when needed. It wasn't meant for guests to notice. It was meant to keep everything running smoothly behind the scenes. By around 2 a.m. on July 5th, most visitors were exhausted and heading out, but the Epcot line was still in motion, carrying the last wave of guests back to their hotels. On that line were 3 trains: Monorail Purple, Monorail Pink, and Monorail Coral. The plan was straightforward. Coral would keep running, Purple would carry guests, and Pink would be moved off the main track into the maintenance area to rest until morning. Inside the control room, the procedure was routine. The panel operator watched the tracks and switches. A supervisor oversaw the bigger picture, green-lighting every move over the radio. On that night, Monorail Pink pulled into position at the transfer point, waiting for clearance to head onto the maintenance spur. The pilot brought the train to a stop and waited for the word. The operator received instructions: deactivate the Epcot line and prepare the track for Pink to move. He shut down power to that section and got ready to change the switch. Then before he could complete the process, 2 more instructions came over the radio. His attention was pulled away. He handled those tasks, as he had done countless times before, and then, in a simple, fatal break in concentration, he assumed he had already thrown the switch for Pink. He hadn't. From his cab, the pilot in Monorail Pink saw the signal that he was cleared to proceed. He couldn't easily tell whether the track beneath them had actually moved to the maintenance spur or not. The beams looked similar. The lighting was poor, and thick early morning fog made it even harder to distinguish exactly where he was headed. Trusting the system and the people controlling it, he guided Pink forward. Up ahead on the same line, Monorail Purple was still on the Epcot track, heading toward the Ticket and Transportation Center. Its 21-year-old pilot, Austin Wenenberg, was running its train like he had many times before. Everything felt routine, right up until it didn't. As Pink rolled forward, still on the main Epcot line instead of the maintenance spur, the 2 trains were now facing each other on the same track. By the time anyone realized what was happening, precious seconds had already been lost. Austin saw lights ahead, another monorail coming straight at him. He reacted instantly, slamming the controls into reverse. The train began to back up, but there was nowhere else to go. 2 massive machines were trapped on a single elevated beam, closing the distance between them. At around the ticketing center, the inevitable happened. Monorail Purple's front cab crashed into the rear of Monorail. The impact crushed Purple's nose section inward, crumpling the front cab like a can against the back of the train ahead. Guests inside felt the violent jolt and saw glass and metal twist around them. Some were thrown from their feet, others were pinned. Staff and riders scrambled to assess the damage in the dim early morning light. Austin was trapped in the wreckage of his cab. Cast members, emergency responders, and other staff rushed to try to reach him, prying at bent metal and shattered plastic. People on the platform looked on, horrified, realizing that the calm, almost futuristic system that had quietly carried millions of guests over the years had finally failed. Despite their efforts, Austin's injuries were catastrophic. His life could not be saved. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board were brought in to examine what had gone wrong inside a system that many assumed was nearly foolproof. The picture that emerged was unsettling. There were safety measures Disney could have put in place, but hadn't. There was no automated system to prevent 2 trains from occupying the same track block in that area. No mandatory cross-check that would have flagged an unchanged switch before Pink was cleared to move. The supervisor, who had a control panel that could show track positions, wasn't even in the room at the time. The panel operator, the one person with a direct view of the tracks and switches, simply relied on memory and routine instead of visually verifying the change. In the foggy darkness, the pilot of Pink couldn't visually confirm the switch either. The tracks looked nearly identical, and he hadn't walked back to the rear cab where he would have had a better angle to see what was happening behind him. Years of smooth operation had built a dangerous sense of trust, not in technology, but in habit. Disney conducted its own internal review and publicly stated that the monorail system itself was not fundamentally flawed, but they didn't go back to business as usual. The changes that followed told a different story. A second operator would now be required to confirm any track switching. Spotters would be positioned at the rear of trains during reverse moves. Additional video feeds and defoggers were installed, and guests were no longer allowed in front cabs. The trains involved in the crash were eventually repaired, repainted, and returned to service. The monorail once again became part of the background at Disney World, quietly gliding along its tracks, carrying families between memories. But for Austin's family and those who knew him, that elevated beam where purple and pink collided marked something else. The point where a single assumption, a single missed step in a chain of procedures, cost a young employee his life. California police recently released this disturbing footage showing an older man investigators believe attempted to coax a 6-year-old girl toward a supermarket restroom. The clip captures the moment he lingered near the hallway, watching for someone vulnerable to isolate, giving the entire scene an unsettling tone the moment you see him step into frame. According to authorities, the man tried luring the young girl, offering her a treat, all while hovering near the bathroom doors as though waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Thankfully, the youngster trusted her instincts, refused to follow him, and alerted adults. The suspect fled before officers arrived. Police are now actively searching for the man they described as a serious public threat. This next clip takes us to downtown Manaus, Brazil on November 23, 2025. The city is getting ready for the holiday season and workers are in the middle of installing a massive Christmas tree in a busy public area. A crane towers above them, holding part of the structure in place, while people on the ground guide and stabilize it. On the surface, it looks like just another festive setup that thousands of people will walk past in the coming weeks. Then everything goes wrong. The crane begins to tip. At first, it's subtle, just a slight lean that might not seem like much, but in seconds, it shifts into full collapse. The huge metal arm comes down, dragging the tree and everything attached to it with terrifying force.
Tu gravou isso? Caralho!
One worker loses their life in that moment, while another is badly injured and rushed to the hospital, where they are thankfully listed in stable condition. The chaos, the shouting, and the suddenness of the fall make it clear how little time anyone had to react. Adding another strange detail to the scene, the crane operator is dressed as Santa Claus. He jumps from the vehicle just before it fully tips over, trying to save himself as the machine goes down. He is arrested shortly after the incident. Authorities launch an investigation, and early findings suggest an operational failure may have caused the crane to become unstable. Whether that means mechanical problems, improper setup, or human error is still under review. But one thing is certain, what was supposed to be a cheerful symbol of the holidays turned into deadly collapse in a matter of seconds. In July 2016, experienced diver Jacob Childs joined a group excursion off the coast of southeast Queensland, Australia. The boat stopped roughly 35 miles, about 56 kilometers out at sea, far beyond sight of land. One by one, divers entered the water, following the line down into the depths. Jacob was the second to last person to go in. At first, everything seemed routine. He grabbed the guide rope, slipped beneath the surface, and began to descend. But about a minute later, the line slipped from his hand, and he didn't panic at first. He simply surfaced, expecting to reach for the rope and try again. Instead, when he came up, the line was gone. The crew had already pulled it in. Before he could fully process that mistake or shout for help, a strong current swept across the surface, silently pushing him away from the boat. By the time he realized how quickly he was drifting, the boat was already shrinking in the distance. Making matters worse, the captain made a decision that would later be heavily criticized. He motored off to go fishing while divers were still in the water. By the time the rest of the group returned and realized Jacob was missing, he was gone, just a speck somewhere in the vast open ocean, 35 miles from shore and completely alone. From Jacob's point of view, the situation deteriorated rapidly. The water temperature was around 20 degrees Celsius, roughly 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Not cold enough to knock him out immediately, but cold enough to steadily drain his body heat and bring on hypothermia over time. The sun was dropping lower, the light fading, and with every passing minute, his chances shrank. He had an inflatable surface marker, the kind designed to make divers more visible, but even that is easy to miss in rolling waves. At one point, a rescue plane actually flew over him twice and still didn't spot him, even while it was still fairly bright outside. He knew that once the light faded completely, the odds of anyone seeing him in the dark water would be almost zero. He recorded messages on his camera, aware that they might be the last words his family would ever hear.
Well, going down. If the sun goes down, they won't do nothing. That's a wrap on old I guess.
The options racing through his mind were all bad. He could try to swim toward what he guessed was the coastline, but 35 miles in open water is an almost impossible distance, especially against unpredictable currents. He tried for a moment to follow a fishing vessel he spotted, hoping to close the gap and wave it down, but the boat quickly pulled farther away, leaving him exhausted and no closer to rescue. He understood that if he used up his energy aimlessly, he would simply drown sooner. Swimming too far from where he had been separated would also complicate any search grid rescuers were using. The more he drifted off in a random direction, the harder it would be for anyone to locate him.
It's way too far for me. It'd be like 15, 16 meters now.
As the sky dimmed and the rescue plane passed overhead again without seeing him, frustration and fear pressed in. The salt water burned his throat and lips, slowly dehydrating him, making him weaker and more desperate.
There's a plane coming back. There's a rescue boat way over there. Helpful, that.
Despite everything, Jacob managed to stay calm enough to follow his training. He reminded himself that anger, panic, or thrashing wouldn't keep him afloat any longer or make him easier to spot. The safest choice, however terrifying, was to conserve energy, stay as visible as possible, and hope that someone calculated his position correctly. Hours crawled by. The water grew darker, colder. The horizon began to blur as the sun sank. He floated, exposed for over 6 hours, long enough for doubt to creep in about whether anyone was still searching. Finally, just as the last daylight was slipping away, a helicopter crew spotted the tiny flash of his marker in the waves. A rescue boat was directed to his position and pulled him aboard. He was exhausted, chilled, and dehydrated, but alive. Jacob's story is a rare example of everything going wrong and still ending with survival. He came unsettlingly close to disappearing into the ocean forever, a reminder how quickly a simple dive can turn into a fight to stay alive when even one small mistake meets the wrong conditions. The third clip comes from Jiaoqiu Township in Bozhou, Anhui Province, China, and it shows how quickly controlled operation can spiral out of control. Local authorities had discovered an illegal fireworks production site during a safety inspection. To deal with the confiscated stock, they hired a third-party company to destroy the fireworks safely, away from the public. On paper, it should have been routine, trained personnel, a secure location, and a controlled burn or detonation. But as the footage shows, that is not what happened. Somewhere in the process, things go horribly wrong. Instead of a contained disposal, a massive explosion erupts. A mushroom-shaped cloud of thick white smoke shoots into the air, towering above buildings and visible from kilometers away. The shockwave that follows isn't just a loud bang. It rips through the area with enough force to shatter windows, bend metal doors, and knock down walls in an abandoned school nearby. Ceiling panels collapse inside surrounding homes, sending debris raining down into living rooms and bedrooms. Residents several kilometers away later report that the sound was powerful enough to wake them out of a dead sleep. 4 people suffer minor injuries, which is honestly a miracle considering how intense the blast was and how far the damage spread. Authorities opened an investigation to figure out exactly how a supposedly controlled fireworks disposal could transform into such a destructive blast. Whether it was improper handling, misjudged quantities, or complete failure in safety planning, the result speaks for itself. This was no controlled burn. It was a full-on explosion that could have easily had a much higher casualty count. This violent case out of Birmingham, UK created national headlines when it unfolded in 2018. CCTV footage shows the perpetrator calmly slipping on gloves before approaching a home, later claiming it belonged to an acquaintance. But the moment he steps inside, the truth becomes clear. He immediately draws a knife he had concealed in his pocket, revealing his deadly intentions. Within minutes, he brutally murdered an 86-year-old grandmother and stabbed her grandson repeatedly 15 times in total before escaping through the garden. His attempt to flee didn't last long. Police captured him shortly afterward, and he was sentenced to life in prison for the horrific attack that stunned the community. This clip is from a fire safety training session somewhere in Brazil. Though the exact time and place were not specified, the purpose of the event is simple: show people how to handle a burning pan safely, the kind of kitchen fire that can happen in any home. In theory, it should have been a calm, controlled demonstration that leaves everyone a little more prepared for emergencies. Instead, things go wrong almost immediately.
Aí, pessoal. Vocês lembram da panela lá pegando fogo lá? Que o cara ali jogou água? Você joga água aqui também, ó. Vamos querer? Aí.
Ó, professor, não.
Para tratamento.
Tira daí de perto.
Tira o material, cabeça.
Sai daí.
In the middle of that chaos, the fire reaches something it was never supposed to touch: a container filled with fuel. The moment the flames reach it, there is no time to correct the mistake. The container explodes, sending fire and pressure outward in a violent burst. For a split second, it looks like the entire demonstration area is going to go up in a much larger blaze. People stumble back, flinch, and try to shield themselves. Miraculously, despite how wild the scene looks, no injuries are reported. The organization in charge of the training announces that they will be reviewing their procedures and taking a hard look at the instructor's actions. Watching the video, it's obvious why. A lesson on fire safety almost turned into disaster in front of a live audience, all because of a fuel source that should never have been that close to an open flame in the first place. Caleb Thomas Schwab was born on June 23, 2006 in Kansas. The second youngest of four brothers, he was the kind of young one everyone around him quietly believed would grow up to do something important. Teachers and coaches described him as bright, disciplined, and unusually mature for his age. He played football and baseball, devoured books, and loved video games like any other youngster his age. But he also showed leadership and responsibility that stood out. His father, Scott Schwab, was a well-known figure in Kansas politics, serving in the state legislature and eventually becoming the 23rd Secretary of State. His mother, Michelle, kept their household grounded. To the outside world, the Schwabs were a successful, close-knit family. To Caleb and his brothers, they were just mom and dad, planning summer outings and trying to balance work-family time. In 2016, the Schwabs accepted an invitation that would change their lives forever. They were asked to visit Schlitterbahn Water Park in Kansas City, a park that had been struggling to match the success of its Texas locations. As part of a push to win over lawmakers and boost publicity, park owners invited legislators and their families to come try out the attractions. One of the attractions was being marketed as the crown jewel of the entire resort, a towering slide called Verrückt, a German word meaning insane or crazy. Schlitterbahn wasn't new to ambitious projects. Founded in Texas in 1979 by brothers Bob and Billy Henry, the company had spent decades building elaborate water parks with increasingly daring rides. By the early 2010s, they had multiple locations and a reputation for pushing the limits of what a water slide could be. In 2012, co-owner Jeff Henry and designer John Schooley pitched something extreme even by their standards: the tallest and fastest water slide in the world. Verrückt would tower nearly 170 feet into the air. Riders would climb a steel tower by staircase, climb into a raft, and drop at terrifying speed down a near vertical first hill before being shot up a second hill and down again to the splash pool below. During early tests, weighted dummies were launched off the slide with so much force that some flew into the air. Instead of abandoning the concept, the design was altered. A net and metal support hoops were installed over the slide's second hill, creating a tunnel meant to keep the rafts in place. Not everyone was convinced this was safe. Some safety experts warned that the ride wasn't ready, that the forces involved and the way the rafts behaved made the design unpredictable. But Verrückt opened to the public on July 10, 2014, and was marketed as the ultimate ride for thrill seekers. Largest, fastest, most extreme. Exactly the kind of phrase that draws in families who trust that if something is open at a regulated park, it must be safe. On August 7, 2016, the Schwab family walked through the gates of Schlitterbahn, Kansas City as invited guests. The park was offering free admission to select families and officials to generate goodwill and word-of-mouth marketing. Caleb and his brother Nathan saw Verrückt and knew immediately that they wanted to ride it. Their father agreed. They met the height requirements. They were excited, and nothing about the presentation of the slide suggested that the risk was anything more than a thrill. Nathan boarded a raft with two other riders and made it down without incident. The raft dropped, climbed a second hill, and splashed down as intended. Caleb was paired with two women for his turn. They strapped in, the attendants checked the seatbelts, and the raft was sent down the towering chute. From the outside, it looked like any other ride cycle until it didn't. The raft flew down the first drop and began to climb the second hill, but instead of staying pressed to the slide surface, it lifted. The combination of speed, weight distribution, and angle of the hill sent the raft airborne. It rose into the space where the metal support hoops and netting formed a tunnel. Caleb, positioned in the front, was thrown up and out of the raft, striking the overhead structure with tremendous force. Down below, riders waiting at the splash pool saw something they would never forget. Nathan, who had just finished his own ride, watched the raft carrying his brother come down wrong. He saw the aftermath of that moment before most adults around him could even process what was happening. He ran to get help, then ran again to find his parents, trying to put words to something that shouldn't have been possible on a regulated attraction. Emergency responders closed off the area and rushed to the scene, but it was far too late for Caleb. The two women in the raft survived but suffered serious injuries. In the days that followed, investigators began peeling back the layers of how Verrückt had been conceived, built, and approved. What they discovered was unsettling. Internal testing and rider reports showed that rafts had been going airborne long before August 7th. Complaints had been filed. People had reported their rafts lifting, slamming, and even striking the net above. Instead of redesigning the ride or shutting it down until the problem was fully fixed, the park had effectively tried to contain the danger by adding that net and hoop system, the very structure that proved fatal for Caleb. Kansas law at the time allowed water parks to perform their own inspections with minimal outside oversight. Schlitterbahn took full advantage of this. Verrückt was inspected and cleared internally. No independent engineering review or state approval was required at the level you might expect for a world record water slide. On paper, everything was fine. In reality, 11 prior injury incidents had already been linked to the ride. Criminal charges eventually followed. Co-owner Jeff Henry, designer John Schooley, and the construction company Henry & Sons were indicted on second-degree murder charges. Tyler Miles, the park's director of operations, was charged with manslaughter, accused of hiding information about previous accidents and downplaying the danger riders were being exposed to. But in 2019, those charges were dropped. The judge ruled that the evidence didn't show they had broken the specific laws in place at the time, only that those laws themselves were badly lacking. The Schwab family settled with the park and related companies for a total of $20 million in 2017. The slide was dismantled, its towering outline removed from the Kansas City skyline. Scott Schwab used his position as a lawmaker to push for stricter ride oversight, trying to close illegal gaps that had allowed for Rock to operate the way it did. But those changes, those settlements, those empty supports where a slide used to stand, none of it changes what happened on that August afternoon. A bright, athletic, promising youngster walked up a set of stairs for what was supposed to be the ride of his life and never came back down. On December 13th, 2013, a diver and YouTuber known as Kojak Thunder uploaded footage of a terrifying moment that nearly cost him his life. Unlike many divers who chase depth records or explore famous underwater landmarks, Kojak's goal was more practical. He liked to free dive and scuba dive to catch fish and crustaceans by hand or with a spear gun, turning his dives into both adventure and hunting trips. On this particular day, he was focused on a single target, a lobster hiding deep inside a rocky underwater cave. Determined not to let it get away, he followed it farther and farther in, squeezing through narrow spaces and winding past jagged stone formations. Eventually, he managed to grab the lobster he was after, securing it triumphantly. But when he turned to leave, victory turned to dread. The way out was gone. The cave behind him didn't look like he remembered. The path he thought he had taken in now seemed unfamiliar, a maze of similar passages. For a few agonizing moments, he was trapped in an underwater cave with no clear exit and a limited supply of air. In the video, you can see the confusion as he turns one way, then another, trying to recognize the formation that marked the route back to open water. Every second spent searching meant less air in his tank. He swam cautiously, scanning for any hint of light or open space. Fortunately, after circling the cave and staying just calm enough not to thrash in panic, he finally spotted the way out and slipped through, emerging into open water with his lungs still under control. From the outside, it looks like a lucky scare, but the more you know about cave diving, clearer it becomes just how close he came to disaster. Diving is dangerous even in clear open water. Divers must balance depth, time, gas consumption, and physical exertion. A single distraction can cause them to overstay their limits. But in the ocean, as long as they aren't too deep, there is usually one straightforward emergency option: go up. In caves, that escape route is blocked. Overhead rock meant there is no direct path to the surface. One of the biggest hazards in underwater caves is the environment itself. Many cave floors are covered in extremely fine silt. A careless fin kick or even bubbles from a regulator hitting the ceiling can disturb that sediment and cause what's known as a silt-out. In a silt-out, the water fills with suspended particles until visibility drops to zero in a matter of seconds. High-powered dive lights become useless. Divers can't see their own hands in front of their faces, much less their gauges, guidelines, or their teammates. Without clear vision, it's frighteningly easy to lose track of direction, depth, and the way back to the cave entrance. If a diver can't see their instruments, they also can't reliably monitor gas mixtures or remaining air. Nitrogen narcosis, a condition where nitrogen at high pressure impairs thinking and coordination, can creep in unnoticed, turning simple decisions into fatal ones. In the tight confines of many caves, there isn't enough room to turn around properly, especially while wearing bulky tanks and gear. If one diver gets stuck in a narrow restriction, everyone behind them can be trapped as well. It's not just a theoretical risk, it has happened in real life. One of the most notorious examples occurred on February 6, 2014, when 5 experienced Finnish cave divers entered Norway's Plura cave system. They had meticulously planned their route and were considered veterans of this kind of environment. Even so, when one diver's cylinder became lodged in an extremely tight passage, he couldn't move forward or backward. The divers behind him were suddenly blocked. In the confusion and rising panic, 2 of the team members failed to keep track of their gas, and both passed away within minutes. The 3 remaining divers only barely escaped. One of them had to do something incredibly risky. He stripped off his gear underwater to squeeze past the stuck diver's position, then continued forward in near darkness, gasping for air from tiny pockets along the cave ceiling as he pushed for the exit. The last 2 had no choice but to slowly turn back and retrace their path, returning to the original entrance with almost no air left in their tanks. The fact that any of them survived is often described as a miracle in the diving community. Their story and near misses like Kojak Thunders show why many experts say underwater caves are some of the most unforgiving environments on Earth. When something goes wrong inside a cave, whether it's a wrong turn, a stuck tank, a cloud assault, or a momentary lapse in judgment, even the most skilled and prepared divers can find themselves fighting for their lives with no easy way out. The next clip comes from the Republic of Kalmykia in Russia, recorded in November 2025. The footage shows the aftermath of a serious crash with twisted metal and scattered debris, telling the story of how violent the impact must have been. According to reports, the truck driver responsible for the collision didn't stay behind to help or even see if anyone was still alive. He fled the scene, something that sadly happens more often than it should. Fortunately, his attempt to disappear doesn't last long. Police move quickly, track him down and bring him into custody. The driver of the Hyundai Solaris involved in the crash is injured. Though there is no clear public update on his current condition, you can see from the damage to his car that he is lucky to have survived at all. The front end is mangled, the metal crumpled in a way that shows just how hard the impact must have been. The man behind the wheel of the truck turns out to be 61 years old. He now faces charges for violating traffic laws and leaving the scene of an accident. Looking at the footage, hearing how serious the wreck was, you get the sense that he got off lightly compared to what could have happened. This clip documents yet another tragic homicide on the streets of Chicago. Surveillance cameras captured two suspects pulling into a parking lot in a blue vehicle oddly decorated with several flags, making the car instantly distinctive. Moments later, a woman exits the vehicle and walks into a nearby store. As soon as she's inside, the second suspect enters as well, quietly at first, before suddenly drawing a handgun. What happens next occurs off camera, but investigators confirm the victim was murdered before the suspects fled the scene in the same blue vehicle. Theme parks are built on a simple promise: controlled danger. You get to flirt with fear, heights, speed, spins, while trusting that the metal cables and safety systems will keep you safe. You line up, get strapped in, scream, laugh, and then step back onto the ground with your heart racing and your feet shaking. For most people, that routine never breaks, but for the visitors at Six Flags Mexico on August 18, 2024, the illusion cracked 250 feet in the air. That day, the park in Mexico City was busy. Families and groups of friends streamed through the gates, ticking off their list of must-ride attractions. Somewhere in the Adventure Alley section, guests looked up at a towering spinning structure known as Sky Screamer, also branded as Supergirl Skyflight. From the ground, it looked like a ring of delicate swings orbiting a giant pole. From the rider's point of view, it felt like dangling from the sky itself. The ride worked like this. You sat in a chair suspended by chains, your legs dangling over nothing. Once everyone was secured, the central tower lifted the ring of seats into the air, higher and higher, while the ride slowly began to spin. The rotation picked up speed as you climbed until the chairs were whipping around the tower at up to 40 miles per hour. Six Flags advertised it as the feeling of pure flight. Nothing but air around you, nothing but a thin chain and a lap bar between you and the open space below. On that day, the people in those seats were getting exactly what they came for. The spinning, the view of the park spread out below, the city stretching into the distance. Then the weather changed. Rain doesn't always announce itself slowly. A few drops can become a sheet of water in seconds. And suddenly, the fun, bright colors of a theme park turn into slick surfaces and frantic crowds. As the storm intensified, park management began shutting down attractions, following the manufacturer's guidelines. Rides that could safely be stopped were brought down, gates closed. People were ushered away from exposed areas. But up near the top of Sky Screamer, the story was different. When the decision was made to stop the ride, the chairs didn't immediately descend. The system halted with the riders still hanging high above the ground, chains swaying, bodies soaked, wind whipping around them while the storm grew worse. What had been a thrilling view moments before had turned into a nightmare vantage point. They were now stuck, suspended hundreds of feet in the air, completely exposed. Imagine being up there, the wind howling in your ears, rain hitting your face so hard it stings. You look down and see people running for cover, umbrellas appearing, staff moving, but no one can reach you. The chains creak and rattle as the ride sways slightly in the wind, and every drop of water makes the seat feel that much colder, that much more unstable. You don't know if rescue is minutes away or if you're gonna be left hanging until the storm decides to stop on its own. Someone pulled out a phone, fingers wet, screen slick, and started recording. The footage shows row after row of riders soaked and silent, some shivering, some staring straight ahead, others looking down in disbelief. The excitement they had when the ride first lifted them into the air was gone. In its place was the realization that they were completely at the mercy of the weather, the machine, and the decisions of the people on the ground. Six Flags later released a statement saying the incident was triggered by sudden, intense rainfall. They emphasized that staff followed established protocols and that all visitors were safely evacuated. That may be true from a technical standpoint, but for the people trapped in those swinging chairs, safely evacuated doesn't capture what it felt like to sit through that storm. Evacuation didn't happen instantly. As the rain worsened, visibility dropped and the wind picked up. Rescue efforts became more complicated. Some riders waited far longer than they ever imagined they would, their bodies gradually going numb from the cold and fear. There's a certain kind of helplessness that only comes from being trapped in plain sight, close enough for people to see you but too far away for anyone to reach. In the end, everyone made it down. No one lost their life. There were no broken bones, no news reports of catastrophic mechanical failure. The ride resumed operation after the storm. The park reopened its paths, and business technically returned to normal. But for the people who were up there that day, something had changed. When you strap into a ride that lifts you hundreds of feet in the air, you accept the obvious risks: height, speed, motion. You don't think about being stranded in a storm, with rain hammering your face and lightning crackling somewhere uncomfortably close. Maybe the incident at Six Flags Mexico will lead to new rules, shutting down high-altitude rides at the first hint of bad weather, better communication with riders in emergencies, or alternate evacuation plans, or maybe it will just become another story people tell. That one time they were left hanging hundreds of feet in the sky, soaked to the bone, waiting for the ride that was supposed to be fun to finally let them go. This alarming moment comes from a Philadelphia coffee shop and shows what authorities believe may have been an attempted child abduction. A man rises from a seat and calmly walks toward a stroller, appearing to focus on the infant inside. He then leans forward, reaching toward the baby as if preparing to lift them out. While it's unclear whether he intended a genuine abduction or was acting bizarrely for other reasons, his behavior was unsettling enough that the parents immediately confronted him. Staff and customers quickly intervened, driving him away from the stroller before the situation escalated. While traveling through a remote mountain river tucked deep inside the Appalachian wilderness, a small group of Russian tourists experienced something that continues to haunt them long after the trip ended. The landscape was quiet, the air heavy with mist rolling off the river, when the group noticed movement between the trees. At first they thought it was a shadow or a large animal shifting through the brush, but as their eyes adjusted, they realized they were staring at something far more massive than any human. What struck them immediately was its silhouette, a towering dark figure with an oddly cone-shaped head and impossibly long arms that stretched downward like weighted branches. Its frame looked disproportionate, unnatural, almost as if it had been assembled from shapes that didn't belong on any known creature. The figure stepped partially into view, water lapping around its ankles, and for a moment, the entire river valley fell silent. The creature slowly rotated its upper body, angling its head as though studying the group. For several breathless seconds, it seemed to lock eyes with them across the rushing water. The moment felt frozen, surreal, the type of silence that makes every instinct scream to run, yet leaves the body unable to move. Then, as if deciding it had seen enough, the figure turned and slipped soundlessly back into the dense Appalachian undergrowth, disappearing as if the forest swallowed it whole. To this day, no expert has identified what the group saw, but the description, the size, the strange shape, the eerie stillness, lines up almost perfectly with generations of Bigfoot sightings reported across the Appalachian region. Whether they saw a misidentified animal, a trick of natural shadow, or something genuinely unexplained, this remains one of the most unsettling encounters they've ever told. Few reminders are as powerful as raw footage, and this clip shows exactly why drunk driving is so dangerous. Watch the background closely. An intoxicated driver slams into an embankment with such force that the vehicle launches airborne and crashes directly into 2 gas pumps. The most shocking part? The driver casually climbs out of the wreckage, barely phased. The only explanation is extreme intoxication. Any sober person would likely have been killed or critically injured in a collision that violent. Dreamworld in Queensland, Australia opened its gates in 1981 with the usual promise of a theme park, fun, distraction, and just enough fear to keep things interesting. Over the years, it grew from a handful of attractions into a full-scale park, adding rides, themed lands, and family-friendly areas. One of the attractions added in 1986 was Thunder River Rapids, a river ride meant to mimic a wild, churning waterway from Australia's gold rush era. Thunder River Rapids looked harmless compared to towering coasters and drop towers. Guests climbed into large circular rafts that seated 6 people at a time. The rafts floated along an artificial channel, bumping gently against the sides and spinning as they drifted through man-made rapids. Water splashed over the edges, riders got soaked and then laughed it off as the raft slowly approached the end. It felt chaotic but controlled, whitewater rafting with the edges sanded down. Underneath that controlled chaos, however, the ride depended on a few simple systems working perfectly. 2 pumps kept the water level high enough for the rafts to float properly. A conveyor belt at the end of the course pulled rafts out of the water and lifted them back up to the unloading platform, ready for the next group. If any of those elements failed, there needed to be safeguards in place to catch the problem before it turned deadly. On October 25th, 2016, those safeguards weren't there. One of Thunder River Rapids pumps had stopped working earlier in the day. The second was struggling, moving just enough water to keep things looking normal on the surface while the water level in the channel quietly dropped. The conveyor belt, however, didn't know the difference. At the end of one ride cycle, a raft was carried back up toward the station, but when it reached the final stretch, there wasn't enough water to help it glide forward. It got stuck on the steel support rails just before the unloading platform. While that raft sat there jammed, another one was finishing its trip downstream. The conveyor kept going. It grabbed the second raft and pulled it upward, straight toward the stalled one. When the 2 rafts collided, the parked raft was knocked free and slid backward down toward its original position. The second raft, still being dragged upward by the moving conveyor, was forced into a vertical position, its nose tipped up. Its rear dipped down into the gap between the belt and the channel below. The 6-person raft was never designed for that position. 4 of the occupants were thrown from the raft and dropped onto the moving machinery below. The conveyor didn't stop automatically. It kept turning, dragging bodies under the raft and into the workings of the ride itself. Some victims were crushed between moving parts. Others slipped through gaps and were pulled into the dark, cramped space beneath, where tons of steel and water pressure left them no chance at all. 2 riders managed to cling to the raft and avoid being thrown. They were eventually pulled to safety after staff hit the stop controls. But for the 4 who fell, the outcome was immediate and devastating. Among the victims were Kate Goodchild, her partner Ruzbe Aragi, and her brother Luke Dorset. Kate's young daughter was on the raft but survived. Another survivor was a 10-year-old son of Cindy Lowe, who was also killed in the accident. Guests in the area were rushed out as emergency services arrived. The scene was so complex and hazardous that recovering the bodies took until the following morning. Rescuers had to work slowly around heavy machinery and confined spaces. Even for experienced paramedics, the operation was traumatic. Many later sought counseling to cope with what they had seen and how long they had to stand inches away from something so horrific. The park shut down, investigators moved in, and like so many similar cases, what they found wasn't a freak accident. It was a chain of ignored warnings and missing safeguards. Thunder River Rapids hadn't been built by a major ride manufacturer like Intamin. It was designed and constructed in-house by Dreamworld. The ride had no simple system-wide emergency stop button that could instantly shut down everything, pumps, conveyors, and all. Instead, there were scattered individual stop buttons for specific components. Their locations weren't clearly marked, and some staff members didn't even know exactly where they were or what each one controlled. There was no water level sensor tied into the ride safety system, no alarm to warn operators that one pump had failed and the channel was emptying faster than it could refill. Investigators later found that when the south pump failed, water could drain back through the outlet, dropping levels below safe points in as little as 15 seconds. 2 failures occurred earlier that same day, and the ride wasn't shut down long enough for anyone to fully understand or fix the underlying issue. Maintenance records were incomplete, safety procedures were outdated or poorly enforced, staff had never been properly trained on how to respond to the exact scenario that unfolded in front of them. The more investigators dug, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a ride malfunction, it was a system-wide failure responsibility. In 2020, Dreamworld's parent company pleaded guilty to charges under the Work Health and Safety Act. They were fined $3.6 million. The Thunder River Rapids ride was dismantled, its water drained, and its twisted machinery pulled apart. Plans were announced for a memorial garden on the site, but for many relatives, those offers felt hollow when made before compensation and genuine accountability were in place. Dreamworld eventually reopened with updated procedures and stricter safety systems, but the shadow of October 25th never really left. For the families of the 4 people who climbed into a raft that day, believing they were stepping into a tame water ride, the park is no longer a place of fun. It's a reminder that when companies cut corners on the boring parts of safety, sensors, training, emergency stops, it's ordinary people who pay the price. Around the globe, storms produce unbelievable scenes caught on CCTV, but not all of them are ever released. In this instance, cameras recorded the exact moment a collapsing power pole fell onto a moving car, crushing the roof and tearing into the pavement with tremendous force. Footage from another angle shows just how narrowly a cyclist and a pedestrian avoided being struck as well. This happened in Seattle, a city used to rough weather, but even residents said this storm was far beyond what they normally encounter. This is Allie, a lifelong resident of Appalachia who claims the region hides far more strange encounters than outsiders could ever imagine. One night, while driving along a deserted back road with a friend, their car suddenly sputters and stalls, and what happens next sends a wave of panic through both of them. As they sit helpless in the silent dark, a voice echoes from somewhere nearby, faint at first and unmistakably clear, drifting through the trees. The moment they get back into the car, a sharp knock hits the window as if someone or something is standing right beside them in the darkness.
We are in the middle of nowhere.
My door is locked. Oh my god. I can't even get out. Can I unlock it?
There we go.
Okay, hold on.
You figure it out.
I want to know why
Press
mine.
the button back right there. Right there. On the door handle, like above the door handle. Above the door handle. You see it? Yeah. What now? I guess we'll have to walk to the store.
Hey.
What do we do? What was that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, we better get back in the car.
Yeah, we better.
Oh no, it's locked. This is scary. Oh my god. Okay. Did it lock?
No.
What's the deal with this car? I don't understand.
You'll have to unlock it for me.
Something weird has happened with this car.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Waiting for connection. Bluetooth connection success.
What was that?
Ashley, I do not like this.
Oh my god.
Let's get out of here. Go. Does it run? Is it working?
Yes, it is. It's working.
Some viewers say Allie's smile makes them question the clip's authenticity, but others argue people often smile or laugh when fear spikes, a natural reflex masking panic. In Appalachia, strange encounters are woven into local belief. Sometimes the mountain calls out, and not everything that calls out is human. And it shows just how fast a normal bus ride can turn into a nightmare. According to reports, a private bus is traveling at speed when a car in front of it suddenly changes behavior, either braking sharply or swerving without warning. The bus driver has only a split second to react. With so many people on board and not nearly enough space to stop safely, the driver veers sharply off the intended path to avoid ramming straight into the back of the car. That desperate maneuver sends the bus offline and straight toward a nearby factory building. The crash that follows is brutal. Metal tears, glass shatters, and the massive vehicle punches into the structure with enough force to damage both the bus and the building. As we see in the clip, this crash comes dangerously close to costing several lives. Around 30 people are injured, including passengers on the bus and 2 security guards who were inside the factory when it was struck. It is a kind of event where a few more kilometers per hour of speed or a delay of even half a second could have turned injuries into fatalities. Instead, the survivors are left with scars, shock, and a reminder of how risky road travel can be when one driver's split-second move forces everyone else into life or death decisions. Black Friday is normally a time when people fight over discounts, but in Virginia, something far stranger slipped through the ceiling of a quiet liquor store long after closing time. Employees showed up the next morning, expecting crowds and chaos, but instead they found the source of the disturbance passed out on the bathroom floor. Not a burglar, not an employee, but a raccoon, so intoxicated it couldn't even stand. Security footage revealed the creature had broken through the ceiling overnight, wandered down the aisles, and torn into bottle after bottle, 14 in total. It left behind a trail of shattered glass, missing caps, and sticky footprints as it drank nearly $250 worth of liquor before finally collapsing. When animal protection officers arrived, they weren't sure if the raccoon was sick, injured, or simply blackout drunk. The dazed animal was taken into a shelter to sober up, then later released back into the wild, but not before the story spread. Now here's where things take a strange turn. Instead of ignoring the bizarre break-in, the store leaned into it. They began offering raccoon-inspired cocktails, from the Midnight Mask Gin Fizz to the Trash Panda Old Fashioned, each one named after their uninvited holiday intruder. Funny on the surface, but think about it for a moment. A wild animal doesn't usually seek out alcohol, let alone break into a building, open bottles, and drink itself unconscious. Something drew it in. A scent, a hidden leak in the ceiling, or something the cameras didn't capture. Either way, customers are lining up to try the drinks, and the store has a new warning posted above the bar. Please drink responsibly. We don't want anyone ending up like the raccoon. Because if one furry visitor can sneak in through the ceiling, who's to say something else can't? The final clip was recorded inside a store in Cape Town, South Africa. The exact date was not released, but the scene itself tells you everything you need to know. Armed men rush into the store and quickly overpower the employees, waving weapons and forcing them away from the counters. They start filling bags with merchandise, grabbing whatever they can, moving fast, and trying to control the room through fear. On first watch, all the motion and shouting makes it feel like there are more than 4 offenders in the store. It looks chaotic, with figures moving in different directions, bending down, standing up, and shifting around the aisles, but according to official sources, there are 4 robbers involved in this particular incident. While they're busy stuffing items into bags, one employee quietly makes a move that changes everything. Instead of fighting back or trying to grab a weapon, they slip out of the store unnoticed and lock the security gate from the outside. In one calm, calculated action, they trap the robbers inside the very store they are trying to rob. When the group finally realizes their escape route is sealed, panic sets in. They pace around, look for other exits, and scramble from one side of the shop to the other, clearly unsure what to do next. Meanwhile, the employees stay safely outside, watching from a distance and keeping themselves out of harm's way. Local authorities don't release full details about what happens afterward, but based on what we see, it is very likely that the trapped robbers end up being taken into custody. And honestly, that one employee who kept their cool, slipped out, and locked the gate probably deserves an Employee of the Year award for turning a terrifying robbery into complete reversal of control. This clip shows another example of the swarm-style robberies that have become increasingly common in major cities. CCTV cameras captured dozens of individuals storming into a business at once, breaking displays, ripping items off shelves, and grabbing whatever they can before fleeing. The chaotic theft occurred during a public demonstration related to the murder of George Floyd, though authorities noted the group responsible was not connected to the protest itself. Instead, they simply used the distraction and crowd activity to carry out organized theft. Why would a mother ever think it's okay to punch her own child in the face? That's the question officers are about to confront on this call. It starts on a quiet residential street outside a small house where the shouting has already stopped, but the damage hasn't. Body cam shows an agitated man pacing near the driveway, pointing back toward the home. He's out of breath, sweating, and clutching at his chest like he's holding himself together. He tells officers he doesn't live there full time, but it's his ex's house. He still stays there late, still has belongings inside, and his car is parked in the backyard. Then he drops the first bombshell. He says he doesn't just fight with him, she abuses her own daughter. According to him, he's seen it before. Claims she has punched her daughter in the nose, in the mouth, and no one ever truly steps in. Tonight, he says, things escalated again. And when he tried to say enough, she turned that violence on him.
She can't keep doing this shit to me or her. She does this shit all the time, and guess what? Now it's time for somebody to stand up for her and for me, because we be letting her get away with shit. She act like she got some mental problem and shit, but no, you can't keep doing that shit.
You don't live here though.
She snatched my chain off. That's why I was holding the door open. You better close the door.
Well, we'll figure it out.
My chain somewhere.
We'll figure it out.
You know what I'm saying?
So, what happened today? You came over last night.
I was here all day yesterday.
Okay.
Got food, everything. Her brother was over here. Her brother's girlfriend was over here. Their kids was over here. We cooked, had food, everything was cool. Went to bed. No, at night, her daughter, me and her sitting down watching TV. She called her daughter. Her daughter come downstairs, sit next to her. She said, blow your breath on me. She blow her breath on me. She smelled smoke on her breath. So she's like, you been smoking. You been smoking.
I'm sorry.
She's like, oh, I'm just trying to.
I get that. I understand. But
so she's like, you been smoking. You been smoking, and punched her in her face. Okay. Jumped on top of her, all four her on top of her on the couch. Smacked her. She caught her just going like this. She's smacking her. I'm trying to be like, hey, chill, hey, you doing too much. Hey, get off her. You're doing too much. It's my kid. She going to grab a hammer, grab mace, pulled me off with hammer and mace. I can't stop her from doing shit. You know what I'm saying? So that get calmed down. And then in the morning, I just woke up. I'm sweating like this because I was in the shower. We got a guy on Manchester Road. I had a car there. He was doing work on my car. We both used him as a mechanic. I introduced her to my mechanic.
Eventually, the storm settled for the night, but in the morning, the fuse was lit again. He explains he'd been in the shower, sweating and trying to get ready to leave for a mechanic on Manchester Road. Both he and his ex used the same mechanic, and he had already had problems there. He says some parts that were supposed to be stored at the shop had gone missing, costing him hundreds of dollars. When the mechanic refused to compensate him, he wanted to call him out online to warn others. His ex, he says, didn't want him to do that, not until her own car was fixed. From there, the argument spiraled.
Why would I give him some money and he just stole my shit? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hell no. She's like, well, he didn't do it to me. What? So I'm in the shower. She take off downstairs. I said, come back. Let me finish talking to you. Come back up here. You know what I mean? She's gone downstairs. So I'm yelling down the stairs like, hey, I already have another mechanic to fix your car. We don't need him. I got 3 cars. I got mechanics. We don't need this guy. You know what I'm saying? So she gets mad. I still want to go to him. I said, well, you know what? If you go to him, you'll spend your own money with him. Then I get out the shower. I try to go in the room to get my clothes and shit. She got my clothes, my watch, my jewelry, everything in her hand. And she got a hammer in her hand and mace. And she's like, get out the house. Of course, I'm not gonna get out the room naked. So she grabs the clothes, goes by the window. Like, I'll throw the clothes out the window. So I go over, I said, no, give me my clothes. Snatch my clothes from her.
Listen, man, stop trying to grab on me.
I'm sorry, bro. I swear, sorry. I grabbed my clothes from her. It's innocent, I swear.
Yeah.
I grabbed my clothes from her. She tried to act like she was gonna hit me in the, I'm about to do it again. Act like she was gonna hit me in the head with the hammer and bang the door, start beating the door. I just go like this. She's just beating the door on top of my head. So she wants to go sell or climb my chain to get the car fixed, which is still my property and my money.
Out in the yard, he described standing in front of her car, asking to find his missing chain so he could leave. Claims she hit the gas, pushing him with a vehicle, then backed up and lunged forward again, revving toward him multiple times. Each time he moved out of the way, he says she followed, turning the wheel toward his body. Eventually, he tried to dodge one last time and felt the car clip him, sending him tumbling into the dirt. He points to the ground where it happened, still shaken. He claims she then parked calmly nearby while he called 911. With one side of the story on record, officers knocked on the door. Inside, body cam shows a cluttered home, a nervous energy in the air, and a woman who already knows exactly why they're there. She has her own version of events.
So, boom, okay, this started from, let's say, he gave me $175 for my car to get fixed, right?
Okay.
So he calling y'all, telling y'all I hit him with my car because I told him to get the out my house. He was in my shower.
Okay.
This morning, I get up. Mind you, he in the shower. He's doing his ritual routine. He pulled the shower curtain back. He was like, yeah, I'm going to make a Facebook post about Justin. Talking to me crazy. He want me to, he told me he going to sue me. I got transportation issues. I got many minor children in the home. He telling my daughter, I recorded him some of it. He said, I got you. I'm going to tell him that she beat you. I'm going to tell him that she be abusing you. I got you. I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. I got your back. I said, what type of shit is this? We're divorced. We've been divorced since 2023.
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
I don't got to make this up. This man don't live here. He's not on my lease. He does not live here. He came and stayed the night.
Okay.
He tried to keep me barricaded in my room. So I did. I took the hammer, and if you go upstairs right now, you will see it's hammer holes in my door because I'm like, let me out my room. Let me out my room.
Can we see that door? Do you care?
No, because I don't got nothing to hide.
Do you still have his chain or something? He's saying something about a chain being missing.
Y'all can look in this room, listen there.
And you try to put all the pressure on before she
Yeah.
That she said she would put you in the car. And she did.
No.
I'm scared.
No, come on.
I'm scared.
No, dear. I want to see your nose in the light.
What was the address you put on our
Did she bust your nose? I know she tried to hit you with it.
No, I just want to. It's right there on the bridge. Does that look swollen to you? Just, I mean, because I don't know your nose.
This side.
Yeah. Okay.
This side.
Because I don't know what her nose normally looks like.
Meanwhile, the girl stands quietly nearby, caught in the middle. The officers have to consider everything: her injuries, the neighbor's uneasy testimony, the man's detailed account, and the mother's attempt to minimize what happened.
You're allowed to discipline your child, but it just depends on...
Right. When I disciplined her last night, it was me yelling at her.
Okay.
It was no physical contact.
Okay. Can you just show me, just so...
I don't know, like these cameras, the way these cameras is it don't save data.
If you keep going down?
Yeah, it's not. It's just 8 to this morning.
Upstairs, body cam footage shows the officers inspecting the damaged bedroom floor. The woman explains that the holes in it came from a previous incident, when she says she had to use a hammer to get out after he allegedly barricaded her. Every mark in this house tells a story, but none of them are simple and none of them are peaceful.
That's it.
All right, man. We're gonna walk outside, okay?
Y'all about to take me to jail?
Just walk over here, please.
Can you answer that?
Walk over here, please.
Is that a yes?
I'm asking you to walk over here.
I'm asking, sir, so I can put on this shirt. I'm in my pajamas.
This way, please. We're not going to change.
Please.
Eventually, the officers make their decision. They ask the mother to step outside. She pleads to change clothes, to grab her phone to understand what's happening, but the officers are done negotiating.
Okay,
Relax.
okay, Ken.
Relax.
Y'all don't have to do
Stop.
this.
Stop.
I'm not resisting.
Stop.
You squeezing my finger. And
Yeah, so I can maintain control.
Listen, I
Stop.
got injury to those.
Stop. Relax. Relax. Okay, yes, you are under arrest for domestic violence. All right. So that's what's going on. We're gonna go downstairs and talk. We're gonna figure out if there's somewhere that we can have your kids go to.
That's why I said, can you grab my phone?
Yeah. Where's your phone at?
It's nothing in my
We're gonna
purse.
walk this way. Come on.
You're taking me to jail for no reason, bro.
Stop. Stop.
No, bro, you taking me to jail for nothing, bro.
Stop.
You taking me to jail for nothing, bro.
Stop. Go down the steps.
Let me go.
Get on that side.
Don't get Ariana, bro.
As they place her in handcuffs, she begins to panic. She says she has injuries on her hands, begs them to loosen their grip, and insists again and again that she never laid a hand on her daughter. The officers remain firm. They explain that she's under arrest for domestic violence and that they now have to figure out where the children will go for the night.
Ooh, bro. Ooh, bro. Swear to God. Swear to God, bro.
Stop.
This shit is weird. How the f is this happening,
It has
bro?
nothing to do with the guy, but what you did to your daughter.
I want to do, bro.
You don't want to go on the rack.
Yes, it is. The fuck? Ariana, come here, bro. I'll take these off. Hey, get my purse. Ariana. 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 Ariana.
Outside, the man continues to argue that this is the only way the girl will ever be safe. The officers remind him that the arrest isn't about him, it's about what was done to the daughter. In the back of the patrol car, a mother insists she's only guilty of trying to discipline her child. But the bruises on that young face tell a different story. The woman was ultimately arrested and charged with domestic violence. Behind every body cam video like this is a bigger question. Where's the line between discipline and abuse? And how long do we look away before someone finally calls it what it is? This incident from Kent, UK plays out like a scene from a crime thriller. Several armed men storm into a betting shop, and the worker behind the counter appears terrified as she opens the safe and complies with their demands. Everything suggests a tense robbery unfolding in real time. But investigators later discovered a twist. The worker was fully involved with the scene. She had coordinated with the robbers and staged her reactions for the cameras. Once police uncovered her role, she was convicted and sentenced to 12 years in prison. On September 5th, 2023, 22-year-old Marcelo Torres walked into Disneyland with friends expecting a day of pure nostalgia and thrill. They planned to hit the classics, laugh, and forget about everything waiting for them back in the real world. For Marcelo, it was supposed to be a break from college and work. Instead, it became the last day of his life. Marcelo had been born in California on August 30th, 1981, to James and Carmen Torres. He grew up responsible and focused, the kind of person who avoided trouble and took his goals seriously. Friends described him as disciplined, kind, and completely uninterested in drinking or smoking. He wanted a clear head. That mindset carried him into Brooks College in Long Beach, where he studied animation, a dream career that fit his love for art and storytelling. At Brooks, Marcelo met another student, Vicente Gutierrez. They became close friends, eventually starting a business together. By early September 2003, the pair needed a break. Along with two friends, Shannon and Christina, they decided to spend a day at Disneyland, the very place so many animated worlds had come to life. Among the rides they chose was Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, a runaway mine train-style coaster in Frontierland. Designed by Tony Baxter and Bill Watkins, it opened in 1979 and quickly became a fan favorite. The track was about 2,700 feet long, with trains shaped like old locomotives pulling 5 cars behind them. It wasn't the kind of ride you'd expect to be lethal. There were no huge drops, no loops, no upside-down moments, just fast twisting curves and sudden turns meant to simulate a train racing through a haunted canyon. That doesn't mean it was harmless. 5 years earlier, a young boy's foot had been trapped between the train and the platform, leading to an amputation. Safety standards were updated, procedures tightened. On paper, Big Thunder Mountain was safer than ever, but in the weeks leading up to Marcelo's visit, there were warning signs that the ride had deeper problems. Maintenance teams had replaced a key component in the train system. After that change, the control panel began showing a yellow warning light. Test runs produced strange noises, rattles and shakes that didn't match the ride's usual sound. Some workers voiced concern. They worried that something wasn't right and suggested shutting the ride down until they could figure it out. But closing a major attraction at one of the most famous parks on Earth can upset schedules, anger management, and frustrate visitors. So instead of stopping Big Thunder, they kept it running. On the day Marcelo and his friends boarded, nothing on the surface hinted at danger. The group took their seats, Marcelo and Vicente in the very first car behind the locomotive, Shannon and Christina in the row directly behind them. The restraints were checked. The train pulled out of the station, and they rattled up the first lift hill toward the fake red rock peaks. Then, as the train approached a tunnel, something went catastrophically wrong. According to court documents, a failure in the ride's mechanical system caused the locomotive's front wheels to derail. When those wheels jumped the track, the braking system on the rails engaged. The locomotive stopped abruptly, but the rest of the train didn't. Momentum forced the rear of the locomotive upward, smashing it into the tunnel ceiling. When it slammed back down, it crashed into the first passenger car, the one where Marcelo and Vicente were sitting. The metal shell of the locomotive crushed backward, folding into the space that should have remained intact. Marcelo was trapped under the weight of that steel, pinned to his seat. Inside the train, everything dissolved into chaos. Vicente later described hearing a loud and natural noise and feeling the world jolt in a way that didn't match any ride he'd been on before. He said it felt like a dream, like he was drifting in and out of consciousness. At one moment, he saw Marcelo unmoving. In another, he saw his other friends in a blur of screaming, crying, and confusion. 10 riders, including Vicente, suffered injuries. Marcelo's were the worst. Emergency responders rushed into the dark tunnel, working in cramped, dangerous conditions to reach the crushed front car. They tried to free Marcelo, but his injuries were too severe. He died before rescuers could get him out. Investigators from state agencies and independent experts began dissecting what had gone wrong behind the scenes. Their findings painted a bleak picture. The mechanical failure that derailed the locomotive hadn't come out of nowhere. Maintenance records showed prior issues. Workers had seen that yellow warning light on the control panel and heard the strange noises during test runs. They considered keeping the ride closed but changed their minds, allegedly out of fear of disappointing guests or higher-ups. In other words, concerns were raised and then overridden. The investigation concluded that the crash was rooted in a mechanical problem that had been flagged but not properly corrected. Procedures were updated after the fact. Operators received new training. The ride system was overhauled. Structural changes and safety improvements were made before Big Thunder reopened in 2004. And from a corporate perspective, the problem was fixed. Marcelo's family didn't see it that way. They filed a lawsuit against Disneyland, arguing that the accident wasn't just a tragic one-off, but the result of a pattern, a willingness to keep operating despite clear warning signs. The case was settled confidentially about 3 years later. Out of that settlement, the family donated $500,000 to Brooks College to fund scholarships for students who wanted to become animators like Marcelo. Marcelo's mother said there was no amount of money that could ever truly pay for her son's life. The legal process could only offer a flawed kind of remedy and a measure of truth. With the case resolved and the facts laid out, the family hoped they could finally begin to find some kind of closure, knowing that at least a story of what happened to their son might prevent another family from living through the same nightmare. Big Thunder Mountain still runs today, rattling through its tunnels and past its fake dynamite blasts filled with laughter and screams. But for those who remember September 5th, 2003, the sound of that train carries an echo, a reminder that even the rides we think we know best can become dangerous when warnings are ignored and safety takes a backseat to convenience. In one of Mazzari's more infamous uploads, he and a friend journeyed deep into the Appalachian wilderness after spotting something unusual on drone footage. A strange, isolated shack sitting along the water. Determined to uncover what they saw, the pair decided to approach it on foot, even though the terrain is nearly vertical. Their route forces them to navigate razor-sharp wire, unstable rocks that shift beneath their boots, and even an active set of train tracks cutting through the mountainside. They know daylight is fading fast, and everyone familiar with this region understands what lurks in these woods after sunset: predators, unpredictable animals, and, according to local legends, feral people who avoid civilization entirely.
I was just in there, and I had the weirdest experience in there. What?
Something literally moved. Something massive.
So remember when I told you I saw a house on my drone?
Yeah.
This is not it.
No?
No, there's a little shack in the middle of the forest near the water.
So I don't know how we're gonna get down there.
Really?
Because it's a mountain drop and there's a fence, so we gotta find a way. All right, so we're gonna try going out this way to see if there's any way down to the river to find this mysterious house or shack. Oh, there's a way out of the fence here.
I found it on my drone.
Okay, so we could probably go from here because there's a way out of the fence.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Oh my God.
Not only are we off trail, but we're off trail.
Yeah. Yep. We're definitely doing what you're not supposed to do in the Appalachians is go off trail.
Bro, you weren't supposed to do this a long time ago. We're way past that point.
Yeah. Everything that you're not supposed to do out here, we're doing. I mean, we can.
Oh, there's the trick.
Hold
on a sec.
That's the river train tracks.
We're kind of close to the shack.
This is active train tracks, by the way.
Yeah.
So those actually work. But.
Oh, they're active?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Here, dude, we're literally climbing down a mountain right now, an entire mountain. So we decided we're going to risk our life to give you guys some more content. We're going to climb down this mountain. By the time we make it down the mountain and down to the river, which we don't know if that's even a guarantee, it's going to be dark.
It's going to be hella dark.
Yeah.
I have my flashlights. We charged them, but it's going to be quite a while.
Like, I don't mind the darkness, but when it gets dark, the animals come out.
Yeah.
And also the feral people.
Which I already found their house on my drone.
It's somewhere down there.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine we get down there, it's not there.
Imagine.
That'd be crazy. And then making our way back up, it's going to be all nighttime stuff. So this adventure, it could get really dangerous, but you know what? We're living a little.
The deeper they descend toward the river, the worse the terrain becomes. Every foothold threatens to slip. Every step carries a risk. Yet curiosity keeps pushing them forward until they finally reach the water. The area is breathtaking, but the beauty does little to calm their nerves. This corner of the Appalachians is dense, largely untouched and filled with wildlife, both documented and rumored. Even surrounded by nature, they feel watched, as if unseen eyes are following every move.
Until you tumble down a mountain. And you know the worst part is you can tumble down the mountain and this is all barbed wire that you're touching.
Oh.
Yeah. And imagine tumbling down and getting stuck in the barbed wire. Now coming up is going to be hell too. Whoa! Almost lost my footing. Whoa! 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 Oh my God! I'm losing my balance. Well, we're almost there. Man, we better get views for this shit. Seriously. Y'all better watch this. Yeah, literally. You guys better watch this shit. Traveling all the way from Canada to freaking do this.
I'm Bear Grylls, and this is how you survive in the western forest. You hold on to trees.
Yeah. I'm making it look too easy for you guys.
Whoa,
let me show you the angle that this is. This is like an 80-degree angle.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should go this way or this way.
Come down the way I came down. You can at least hold on to trees and not barbed wire. Oh, coming up here. Holy shit, this is a 90-degree angle at this point. Hey, be careful, be careful, 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 careful. Oh my God, he almost died. Please be careful, hold on. Hold on. Holy crap.
Yo, how the hell are we gonna get up?
How are we gonna what?
How are we gonna go back up?
Same way we came down.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I am half monkey.
Dude, this... Oh, be careful. Yeah, it gets slippery here, so watch out. Gravity is like working against you right now. It's like, come on down, Sonny.
I already slid halfway down here by accident.
Whoa. Whoa. This is crazy. Whoa. Dude, I feel like I'm in like a Wild Wild West movie right now.
What the hell?
So as you guys can see, there is absolutely nothing down this way. And there is nothing down this way. All there is train tracks. And more mountain to scale down. Okay, as you guys can see, we are almost down by the river. And I'm kind of nervous because there might be a bear here trying to drink some water. Or some wolves. Or Bigfoot himself. So let's see if we can see anything or anyone. We're gonna regret this tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a painful day. That's for sure.
Everything spirals out of control in seconds. One member of the group suddenly vanishes. When they locate him moments later, he's unconscious with a fresh bump swelling on his head. He insists something or someone struck him. Immediately, they think of the Appalachian legend surrounding isolated mountain dwellers and feral people. The fact that they're so remote makes the possibility even harder to ignore.
Oh, hey! Oh, fuck. Fuck. Oh my god, oh my god. Yo! Oh. Yo! Yo! Hey! Oh, shit, spider webs. Yo! Hey! You okay? Yo! Hey! Hey! Aldo! Yo! Hey! Wake up! Guys, I think he fucking fell. Yo, Aldo, wake up! Yo! Hey! Hello? Yo! Aldo! Aldo, wake up! Hey! Are you okay? What happened? Yo, what happened? What happened? Get up. Did you hit your head? Okay. Take it easy, okay? Let's take your time, take your time. Did you fall? Did you fall? Do you remember what happened? Yo, do you remember what happened? Hey. Bro, do you remember what happened? Bro, seriously, are you playing a joke on me or what? Like, are you okay? Why do you keep looking up that way? What happened?
Bro.
What happened?
Did
you slip and fall?
No.
So what happened?
Something was following us.
Something was following us.
Yeah. I heard something.
Because I was on the rocks looking at the water. I looked back and you're not here. And I'm like, what the hell? Did this guy disappear on me?
I heard something. So I turned around. And then everything went black.
So somebody hit you?
I saw someone. Yes, I think someone hit me. Someone's here.
Wait, just take it easy. Does your head hurt? Does your legs hurt?
My head hurts.
Your head hurts?
Right here. Come feel it. There's like a bump. You feel it?
Holy shit. That's a big bump. Okay, bro, where could this person up?
Am I bleeding? Do you have blood?
No, you're not bleeding. You're good. Bro, actually, somebody hit you.
Someone's here, man.
As they scramble up the mountain trail, trying to put distance between themselves and the river, unsettling clicking sounds begin echoing from the trees beside them. The noise seems to follow their pace, growing louder the faster they move. Then as they pass a dilapidated structure, one of them notices something in the window. A figure. It's orange, human-shaped, unmoving, and staring directly at them. Whether it was an actual person or something far stranger is impossible to determine, but one thing is certain, they are not alone in these woods.
Man, worth it though. Worth it. Go. Oh, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Run. Go. What was that? Come on! Let's go. Got someone there. There was someone there.
I think they're trying to keep us out of their territory.
There was clicking. There was actual clicking. Hey, we're not afraid of you. Well, maybe a little bit, but... Jeez. There was definitely 100% someone there. What if it's following us, dude? Wait, what's that in the window? Oh my god. Oh my god. There's a face. Dude, look at my screen. Look at my lens. You can't zoom in that far. There's a guy standing right there. Look at his face. Oh. What the fuck is that?
Let's go.
What the fuck is that? Go now. Oh my god. What the hell is that? Oh, what the hell is that? Dude, I can't run no more. I can't run no more. What is that? A head? Is that a person?
Someone watching us?
Dude, there's something orange over there. Look at that. It looks like a face.
Let's see it.
What the hell is that?
I can see it on your camera.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, this is crazy, man.
People are watching us.
We're being watched right now.
Why is there something orange?
Looks like a face. And in the window, we saw something in the window.
Yeah.
That looked like a fucking face.
We're probably being watched.
I don't know if like maybe our brains are playing tricks on us.
Their panic leads them off the marked trail entirely. As darkness closes around them, they lose all sense of direction in the maze of trees. Eventually, they stumble upon an old blast bunker left behind from the region's mining days. With night fully swallowing the wilderness and no safe escape route in sight, they decide to shelter inside until sunrise.
We'll leave what we just stumbled upon in the mountain. We just found a structure in the mountain. It's not the mine shafts and the other stuff that we found earlier. It's something completely different.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Oh!
What?
Yo, shelter. Yes. Shelter.
Oh.
Bro, what the fuck is this?
What the hell is it?
Oh my god, yes. We're so exhausted, guys.
Really in the middle of the forest.
Oh my god.
Hours we randomly find this?
Bro, this must have been something that was part of the mine shaft, you know?
Yeah.
Bro, let's just chill here tonight. I don't want to go any further.
I bet you this is probably what it's designed for. Like, if you're like been walking for a long time, yeah, it's just like a little shelter, a hiding spot.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I mean, it's shelter for tonight. That.
Yeah, screw this.
I don't know, like God is on our side. I mean, God's always on our side, but today God is on our side extra.
We got lucky, man.
Well, we're still not out. We still don't know where we are. We're still lost. We're gonna, I think, wait out the night here.
Yeah, we can deal with that problem tomorrow. And we have a baseball bat right here, so if anyone tries to come at us, we got the bat. And maybe we can even take turns, like, staying up kind of thing.
Yeah. I think I want to take a nap.
Inside the bunker, the tension is suffocating. Every distant crack, rustle, and shift in the woods sends waves of dread through the group. They take turns staying awake, each listening intently for any sign that the clicking figure or whatever hit their friend might return before morning.
Stay here.
I'm not sleeping.
Yeah, we have a couple hours to go. We'll just stay awake.
Yeah.
And then we'll head out of here so the sun's up.
That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna sit here, hold down the fort, and just keep our ears and eyes open. I'll check back with you guys once I get a chance.
Yeah.
If anything else happens, actually, I should say.
Yeah.
Fuck. The sun is starting to come up, guys. I didn't really get much sleep last night, especially because of what happened. But we're gonna keep you guys updated as the sun gets up and gets brighter. And I cannot wait to get out of here. Once it gets a little bit brighter, we're gonna start our trek out of here and find our way out. The sun is coming up. We got lost last night coming back out of here.
Yeah, we really did, man.
We spent the night in some little
random shack.
Random shack. We're trying to get out of here right now.
Yeah.
It was a tiring night, man.
That was creepy, man. We actually, as you guys saw, we took turns staying awake, but I guess the sun is finally coming out. So soon everything's gonna be lit up, but we can actually start to see now. So
yeah,
we can probably start finding our way out of here.
But we're not at the woods yet. We still have quite a bit of a hike out of here. Like a lot of a hike.
How's your battery doing? Mine's almost dead, man.
I'm using my GoPro now because my other camera died. My night vision camera, it died. I don't have any more batteries for it. I only have half a battery left for this. So
yeah,
it's morning now. We're gonna find our way out of here and get the out. I'm never coming back here again.
When daylight finally breaks, the group manages to navigate their way out of the wilderness. Relief washes over them the moment the forest opens back into familiar territory. One thing they agree on without hesitation, they will never return to that part of the Appalachians again. Not after what they saw, but the bigger questions remain. What exactly was watching them from the window, and why was it there? Imagine walking the streets and you see a bus coming right at you. That's exactly what transpired here. What would you have done? This footage comes from the village of SHOUTOUT, recorded on November 29th, 2025. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary view of a quiet residential home belonging to a woman and her husband. The yard is still, the house stands untouched, and nothing suggests that anything out of the ordinary is about to happen. It's the kind of scene you'd scroll past without a second thought, until everything changes in the span of a heartbeat. What happens next is nothing short of insane. In just a few seconds, we get a brutal reminder of how quickly a normal day can turn into something straight out of a nightmare. There's no long build-up, no warning siren in the clip, just sudden, violent impact. Choutauט is a village close to Kiev, and given everything that has been happening in that region, that already tells you a lot. Even so, it's still unbelievably shocking to watch a rocket slam directly into their home. One moment it's standing there intact, the next the building is torn apart by fire and debris as a rocket hits with full force, sending fragments and smoke outward in every direction. What makes this even more unreal is not just the level of destruction, but the outcome. Against all expectations, everyone inside survives. Think about that for a second. Surviving a direct strike on your home by a rocket is something most people would write off as impossible, a story they'd never believe without proof. And yet here, it's all caught on camera. The footage doesn't just document damage, it captures a family living through something that should have ended their lives in an instant, walking away from a scene that by all logic, no one should have walked away from at all. Police are dispatched to a Walmart for what's described only as a suspicious event. On the surface, it sounds routine, but as their cruiser rolls into the lot, things are already off. Before the officers can even make it through the doors, a nervous man rushes out of the store and jogs toward a truck sitting in the fire lane. He's talking fast, almost tripping over his own words as he tells them he needs to move the vehicle and that his wife is still inside. He insists they have a big cart full of groceries to pay for and that his wife has been acting strange all night. When the officers stop him to figure out what's going on, the story gets even messier. The man explains that his wife is convinced he's cheating on her, that she thinks his side chick is somewhere in the store. He laughs it off as irrational, calling it all in her head, but there's a strained edge in his voice that doesn't match the words. He tells them they've been together for 8 years, married for 5, and he swears he's never been unfaithful. Instead, he says everything really went downhill after another incident, a recent arrest for fentanyl found in his truck. According to him, he took the charge so his wife wouldn't go to jail and their daughter wouldn't be taken away. He watched officers put him in cuffs in front of his family, and ever since, he claims his wife has spiraled into constant suspiciation.
We've been together 8 years, and I would never have cheated.
But if she came here with you, why would she think that there's another female in the store that you're with?
Yeah, sounds pretty crazy, huh?
A little crazy. How long y'all been married?
I mean, 5 years, been together 8. It's just between girls. There's no me doing odd things like tucking off around the building at Walmart, calling people. But I'm not doing anything like that. For her to think that she's I'm cheating, right? But that's what is made up in her head, and she truly believes it. I know I look in her eyes, and I can just tell she really believes it. Cheating on her.
As far as the groceries, so you had a big...
Yeah, well, I had a GO Trax, like I was telling her, the scooter, the little riding scooter, cup of milk, a couple small things, toilet paper. Okay. And, yeah, I don't know if she's...
You're headed back in to pay
She don't have the card, so I know she didn't get far. I went back inside, told her to pull up. That was my fault. Told her to pull the truck up, and I'll be out in a minute. Well, I got there, no card. My wife was walking around saying, hey, I got to move the truck. I'm like, what? So there's cops. And, oh, shit. So I ran out here.
All right, well, if you need to go pay for things, let's go pay for it, okay? Something weird today.
Inside the Walmart, things aren't adding up either. Employees tell officers that the couple has a full buggy loaded with items, bags of merchandise, toilet paper, milk, and even a razor scooter tucked underneath the cart. They say the woman has been walking in and out of the store acting oddly, lingering with this overflowing cart but never actually paying.
I was literally talking to her the entire time that I came inside the store. I never let anything wrong at all.
What's that?
From her side, the story is completely different. She tells the officers she's been suspecting him of cheating for a while and that she recently found a receipt and transactions that pushed her over the edge. She came to the store convinced he was up to something and admits that's why she's been so on edge.
Hey, I'm sorry about that. Honestly, he's probably not going to buy anything because I canceled all the cards. Because I found charges on them. He doesn't know that though, so he's probably gonna be really pissed off. I was trying to save that. I was trying to do that whenever he went outside. I was trying to, because I knew he was gonna be really mad.
Yeah.
But that's where I found the charges and what started this whole thing. He doesn't know that I know that the charges are on there though.
Are you gonna be okay for the night?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's not any sort of, honestly, if anything,
He said you guys were arguing out in the parking lot.
yeah, we did a little bit. That's because that's when because he came out originally without the car and was complaining about asking me what was going on. That's what we were fighting about. And then that's when then he came inside and the truck was parked in the fire lane.
The lane over here, yeah.
Where'd he go? I got his driver's license.
Hey, I don't have enough in this car to cover that. And also, with this situation, I guess I'm just gonna come back. It's fine with me. I'm just gonna come back because I don't have $300 in this car. I'd rather just.
Well, I'm gonna put it to you this way, okay? You both are acting very frantically, right? You know that there's no money on that card right now. You pull up the truck. You have a large load. What do you think I'm trying to get out of here?
I already know. I'm not stupid. I told you earlier. I've already beat the situation. That's exactly why I'm just going ahead and leaving. But I do have money. I work. I do work. You know what I mean? Like, why would I come in here to steal that much money's worth of shit, dude? I mean, come on. That's pretty stupid. Come on.
It happens all the time.
Have I maybe possibly knowingly not scanned an item before? Maybe, but never anything like that.
Okay.
I mean, there's a guy sitting.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen now.
Front.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen right now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You're going to be detained for now until we get everything figured out. All right.
The officers now have two nervous people, a loaded shopping cart, a vehicle parked in a position perfect for a quick getaway, and a payment card situation that suddenly doesn't make sense.
Why is he being arrested?
I don't know. So.
What's going on? What's going on?
They're detaining me.
We're just gonna detain you so we can kind of figure out what's going on, okay?
Just hop in there right now, okay?
The officers point out the obvious problem. Both of them are acting frantic, the cart is full of high-dollar items, and some of those items are concealed inside a cooler. Exactly the kind of thing loss prevention is trained to spot. The woman is handcuffed while they sort everything out, and she demands to know why. They make it clear it's not because of the cheating accusations. That part of their drama is illegal. What the officers are concerned about is the possibility of a felony theft in progress. When they asked if she knows anything about items being hidden in the cart, she denies it. She swears her husband isn't a thief, says he doesn't have a history of stealing, and claims he was standing at self-checkout ready to pay the whole time. But when the officers bring up a prior incident at Academy Sports, she hesitates. She insists he wasn't arrested there and that it was all a misunderstanding involving swapping out old shoes for new ones, the kind of thing she claims people always do.
Okay, so why am I handcuffs?
What I am looking at is because your guys' erratic behavior, the truck being pulled up right here ready to go, the large amount of items that are expensive on the cart, and some items concealed inside of a cooler.
See, I wasn't even in the store with him.
Here's the thing, is you came with him, you could be an accomplice in this, okay?
Accomplice in what?
Of stealing.
Well, why would he steal it? He literally walked in, he was at the self-checkout.
He told you to go purchase the items, right?
Well, I didn't have the card.
You didn't have the card.
That's when I came in and tell him. Well, when I told him that the cops were out here to go move the truck, he walked out there immediately. He walked right away. Not one person asked me to leave. I sat there and talked to that lady right there the whole time and let her kind of know what was going on and the reason I was like standing there like that. And not one person told me to leave.
What I don't understand is you guys come together to go shopping, but you stay in your truck and then you abandon the truck to keep an eye on him, and then he comes out, not knowing where you are, pulls the truck up, but then tells you to go pay?
No.
But you don't have a car.
He never told me to go pay. I walked in to tell him the truck was in the fire lane to move it because y'all were out there.
He told me that he told you to go pay.
Well, when inside when I told him, he told me to pay, but he didn't. He walked off with everything.
But you don't have a car to pay for, right?
No, but I could have had if I had my phone, I would have been able to pay, but he didn't know that.
Oh, thank God.
What's up, man?
Did you have the heat on in here, bro?
No, the heat's not on.
God.
There's just no AC.
I dropped my hat. That's the only reason why my hands are down there.
You good, man? Here. You good, man?
Dude, it was hot, man. I got half a lung over here, bro, that I'm dealing with. So I breathe a lot more than any, regular people. So
I got you. All right, can you just explain the events tonight of what happened?
Should have tried to fix it.
Meanwhile, the husband sits in the back of a patrol car sweating and struggling to breathe, complaining about the heat and a damaged lung. The officers press him about his past. He finally concedes that he has one old theft-related charge from years ago, involving a necklace he pawned that turned out to be stolen property. And then there's a recent fentanyl arrest he already mentioned. He insists he's changed, that he has a security clearance at a safe center job and that he's not a user now, just someone with bad luck and bad timing. Still, the officers remind him this isn't about who he used to be. It's about what they're seeing right now. Frantic movements, a truck positioned for a quick escape, a chaotic argument, concealed items, and no clear way to pay for over $1,000 worth of merchandise.
Your guys' both years' behavior is very erratic.
Well,
and the circumstances are coming behind this right now.
Well, it's probably,
that's what I'm looking at, obviously. That's why you're in cuffs.
Because it looks bad.
Yeah.
It looks bad. Now
it looks bad. Okay. Do you have any history of shoplifting or any kind of theft?
Absolutely not.
Never stolen your life? Never got charged for a theft or anything?
When I was like 18, wrong place, wrong time. But in Manatee County, I got arrested for I got sold a necklace, and when I pawned the damn thing, boom, I got hit. So then I got arrested. I went to jail. But it was like one of those things like, I got arrested first time as an adult, moved on with my life, and they withheld adjudication. So as far as if you guys, I don't know if you guys see it or not. I don't think you do.
I haven't looked at it.
I don't know, but I got
I'm going off of what you guys are telling me right now. I'm not basing it off your history.
Yeah, no, I got
now,
you, but I'm just saying, but I also have a security clearance in the Space Center, so I don't know, but I told them about it too.
In the end, the officers determined that there was enough evidence to charge the couple with felony retail theft. The total value of the items they were attempting to walk out with, including car batteries and an electric scooter, was over $1,000. On paper, it looks like a carefully staged grab-and-go that collapsed under pressure. Yet despite the charges, the situation takes one last twist. The store ultimately decides not to move forward with the case. With that decision, the criminal charges are officially suspended, leaving behind no conviction. Just an unsettling reminder how quickly a late-night trip to Walmart, mixed with mistrust, stress, and erratic behavior can turn into squad cars, handcuffs, and a story you never intend to star in. On December 8, 2025, a quiet afternoon at Bicentennial Park turned into something straight out of a bizarre sci-fi horror story. A man parked his BMW convertible, left it unlocked, and tucked the keys inside a closed cup holder. It was supposed to be a quick stop. He leashed up his dog and started his walk, never imagining that in just a few minutes, someone else would be behind the wheel of his car. While he was still on the trail, the BMW roared to life. Witnesses later told deputies they watched the convertible tear away from the park like it was in a street race, engine screaming as it blew through traffic. By the time anyone could call it in, the car was already a streak of metal heading toward Old Dixie Highway and Plantation Oaks Boulevard. Moments later, the inevitable happened. The BMW smashed out of control, twisting into a wreck that barely looked drivable anymore. People nearby ran toward the crash, expecting to find a lifeless driver trapped in the seat. Instead, they pulled out a 36-year-old man later identified as Calvin Curtis Johnson. He was injured, shaken, and rambling, but what he said chilled everyone listening. According to witnesses, Johnson insisted he hadn't stolen the car at all. He claimed he'd teleported into it. When deputies arrived, they found the mangled BMW, the shaken witnesses, and Johnson still talking about things that made no sense. About speed, about the crash, and about how he hadn't been behind the wheel by choice.
Yep. 130 miles an hour, and I swear to God, that's his road. Do you have a fire extinguisher?
I got in the car. I don't know. I teleported or something.
Where'd you get the car from?
I don't know. It's Calvin.
Side?
I don't know. I teleported.
Officer, where's your fire extinguisher?
Come over here. Give me just 1 second.
Yeah.
Put your hands up on my car.
Yes, sir.
As a deputy handcuffed him to a patrol vehicle, Johnson suddenly looked at him with wide, terrified eyes and said, "You saved me from the aliens."
Did you come from Bicentennial Park?
It came from that
Bicentennial Park?
came from north.
They told me to X-Men to do it.
Okay, but the dog park?
I don't know. X-Men told me I don't do that stuff. I
got 11012.
I'm gonna keep it safe. Just sit. Nine Hamilton. Someone told me to get in here.
Just sit tight.
Someone's in my head.
Cut him out of his seat. It's not his.
You know what a fire extinguisher is? I don't want the wood.
I got one security.
Thank you for saving me.
Give me just 1 second. That's not going to catch you off.
Thank you for saving me.
You got him. He's out.
I don't know how I got him out.
Come on.
Yeah, signal 20 says
Oh my God.
car. He stole the car.
I don't know how I got him out. Thomas God stole it.
Hey, can you give me that tag?
What's he around me doing 100 miles an hour?
so good. Christopher Martin is all this time.
Go ahead with it.
You saved me from the aliens.
Bro,
Yeah, I need some water.
Okay. A little bit easy. Watch your lips. Yeah, it's one and the same. Okay.
I filled my tummy. It's like, hey, yo, I go to the candy store.
Do me a favor. Step forward. Step forward. Step forward. It went for that seatbelt. Step forward. Step forward. Stop. Don't go nowhere. You have an ID on you?
I don't know how I got in there.
To the deputies, it was another dangerous crash with a reckless driver. To Johnson, it was something completely different, something out of this world. He was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment and will later be transported to the Volusia County Branch Jail on charges of grand theft of a motor vehicle and driving with a suspended license. So, what do you think actually happened in that BMW? Was this just a desperate story of someone trying to dodge responsibility, or did Calvin truly believe someone else put him in that car? This incident took place on Tuesday, November 11th, 2025 at Karam's Lounge in Akron's Outlet neighborhood, where a routine night at a local bar quickly turned into a chaotic and tragic scene. According to police reports and witness statements, a 36-year-old man was seen acting erratically inside the bar, appearing heavily intoxicated and behaving in a way that alarmed both staff and patrons. After being asked to leave, his behavior reportedly escalated outside, shouting, pacing, and becoming increasingly agitated in the parking lot. Several frightened witnesses called 911, claiming the man was pointing what looked like a gun through the bar's windows and threatening to shoot. In response, staff locked the doors and told everyone inside to take cover as Akron police units rushed to the scene. Moments after arriving, one officer confronted the man outside the bar, relying on the dispatch information that he was armed. The officer repeatedly ordered him to show his hands and get on the ground. The man appeared disoriented and only partially complied before suddenly moving his hands toward his jacket, a gesture the officer perceived as a potential threat. Within roughly 20 seconds of contact, the officer opened fire, striking the man several times.
Stop where you are! Get your hands out! Get your hands out! Get your hand out of your pocket! Get the on the ground right now! You're gonna get shot! Get on the ground, you're gonna get shot! Hey, get on your pockets! Get out of your pockets! Car 4, signal 5, shots fired, suspect down.
Oh my God. Oh.
Hey, get your hands out, Akron Police. Let me see your hands. Akron Police, let me see your hands. Stop reaching in your pockets. Hey, sir, get back in the bar. Get back inside. Akron Police, let me see your hands. Akron Police. Get your hands out of your pockets. Akron Police, let me see your hands. Get your hands out of your pockets. Get your hands out of your pockets. You're gonna get shot again. Get your hands out of your pockets. Get your hands out of your pockets. You're gonna get shot again. Get your hands up. Get your hands out of your pockets.
Dude, put your hands out.
Put your hands above your head.
Put your hands above your head.
I'm gonna go around this way.
Officers immediately rendered first aid until paramedics arrived and transported him to a hospital, where he was reported to have serious but non-life-threatening injuries. However, when investigators searched the man afterward, no firearm was found. That discovery has since prompted a broader investigation into whether the original 911 reports of an armed suspect were mistaken or based on a misidentification. As of now, the Akron Police Department's Major Crimes Unit and the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation are reviewing body-worn camera footage, witness statements, and forensic evidence to determine whether the officer's use of force was justified under the circumstances.
All right, man, where you hit? There we go, got him in cuffs. All right, search, check for a gun, check for a gun.
Please, please.
Yep.
Help me up. I can't breathe.
Yep, I know. It's okay.
I can't breathe.
We're trying to get you some help.
No, you're not. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
We're gonna get you help.
I can't breathe.
Get him up. Try to sit down.
You can't breathe.
I know.
I can't breathe.
Somebody grab a chest seal.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Yep, we're trying to get you help.
Oh man.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
I don't even. So much driving.
What began as a night of ordinary leisure at a neighborhood bar ended with gunfire, confusion, and unanswered questions about how quickly perception and fear can collide in high-pressure moments. This footage comes from Timon Marano, Brazil, and it captures a moment of sheer recklessness that could have ended in catastrophe. Surveillance video shows a man standing near a gas station fuel tanker casually lighting a cigarette, completely ignoring every safety warning posted around him. After taking a puff, he flicks the still-burning match onto the ground, unaware that a tanker truck was refueling the underground fuel tanks just a few feet away. Within seconds, the vapors ignited, sparking a sudden flash of fire that raced across the pavement. Panic set in immediately, but the station employees reacted fast. Using fire extinguishers, they managed to put out the flames before the situation escalated into a full-blown explosion. According to the local fire department, no one was injured. A miracle considering how close this came to disaster. Officials later emphasized how this single careless act could have cost lives, reminding the public that gas stations are no place for open flames. In the end, quick thinking and luck prevented tragedy, turning what could have been an inferno into a critical lesson in basic safety awareness. Near Batu Caves, Malaysia, a normal commute turned into a moment of pure horror when a steel canopy designed to protect vehicles from falling debris suddenly collapsed onto a moving car. The structure had been part of a temporary setup under a construction site, but during a routine paint thickness inspection, the boom arm of a skylift struck the canopy's framework. Within seconds, the entire structure buckled and fell, crushing the roof of a passing vehicle. Bystanders rushed in, prying open the damaged doors and pulling the driver to safety. Miraculously, he survived without major injuries, an outcome authorities later described as nothing short of incredible. Initial findings revealed that the canopy was not rated to withstand impact and that the inspection work was being performed without authorization from the main contractor. In response, construction at the site was immediately halted, pending full review. Had the driver been a few seconds faster or slower, the outcome would have been fatal. It's a stark reminder how fragile safety becomes when oversight is ignored. In early January 2024, deputies in Key Largo, Florida were looped into an unusual rental car saga. A 52-year-old man named Andy had rented a 2023 Toyota Corolla valued around $21,700 from Enterprise on a 2-day agreement and simply never brought it back. He asked for an extension, never paid, then went dark. Enterprise called, emailed, and even FedExed a demand letter warning that if the vehicle wasn't returned by January 17, they'd notify law enforcement. Weeks turned into months without a response. By March 29, Monroe County deputies met with Enterprise staff who handed over the paperwork trail, contract, payment history showing only the initial charge, and proof of notices. As the risk manager prepared to push things forward, a twist. Andy had just booked a fresh reservation to pick up another rental that afternoon. Staff agreed to call if he showed, and separately, they pinged the Corolla's location.
If he comes at 3 o'clock, can you contact us?
Yeah, he's scheduled to come in at 3:30.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Deputies found the white Corolla parked at an address and Andy sitting inside. They asked him to step out. He refused, cracked the window just enough to talk, and launched into a long explanation, claims of scams, passport issues, and that this was a civil matter between him and the company.
714 miles, the subject, vehicle on scene. Mr. Can you step out of the vehicle, sir? Can you step out?
You want me to do what?
I need you to step out of the vehicle, sir.
For what?
I need you to step out of the vehicle, sir. Can I talk to you for a second? I can't hear you.
Heavy traffic stop report the mobile case.
Can you roll down the window, sir? Side 114. Subject's refusing to get out of the vehicle.
Number 1305.
I need you to get out of the car, sir. Can you open the door? Told you. Mr. We need to talk to you. Can you please step out of the vehicle?
The rental car called us about the rental car. You got to get out and talk to us.
Deputies explained the obvious. Enterprise had reported the car stolen, documented failed contracts and non-payments since January 12, and now wanted their vehicle back. They warned him they'd force entry if needed.
You want me to get the breaker?
Sure.
All right.
They want to report this car stolen. You haven't paid for it since January. Get out of the car. Yes, get out of the car. All right, we're gonna remove you from the car one way or the other. You got it?
Yeah. Sir.
Grab it. Just grab it.
We just need to get the car. That's it. That's it.
So, okay, just don't put your hands on top of me.
All right, just step out.
I'm gonna step out. Do not put your hands on top of me. All right? I'm tired of you guys' lies here. You guys have been lying way too much. All right, you have your cameras on?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, I want to speak to your cameras. Do not touch me.
Okay.
All right, let me speak to your camera straight
You
up.
want to tell us your side of the story?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you the side of the story.
Okay.
So before you
Well,
even don't
we'll
touch
gladly
me.
listen to it. That's fine.
Okay,
step out.
just don't touch me.
Okay. What's going on?
What's happening here is, my man, is that these guys have been running a scam with a phone in this town. Okay, that's number one.
What do you mean the phone?
No, listen to me, my man. Listen to me. You put me through the court system with Judge Hamilton with the same with the U-Haul story. All right, they've been bullshitting the driver's license. They've been bullshitting the scam inside of that story. All right, I have it all on tape. I got all the proof of that. They dismissed the case with that story too. All right, you want me to go over to the rental car place? We can talk over there.
Okay, so they called us.
Okay,
right?
they called, but they see me every single day. Even the men in the rental car place see me every day.
You've gone into that store every day.
Every day they see me passing the
But
store.
you have gone into the store
and
talked
spoke
to
to
them.
the woman and the Spanish girl there too. So if you want to follow me over there and let them tell me that to my face, then you can put that on camera too.
Okay, you rented the car in January, right?
Rented the car in January.
Okay. Have you?
All I want to say is this. All I want to say is whatever civil matter they want to deal with inside of a courtroom with me, they can deal with that civil matter in the courtroom.
Okay.
That's all I have
The
to
rental
say.
company has reported the car stolen.
It can't be stolen if I'm in front of them every single day, my man, and I'm here every day inside of all of your police.
After several commands, Andy finally opened the door, but wouldn't submit to handcuffs. As deputies moved to detain him, he pulled away, and a taser was deployed.
She sees me all the time. I just said, look, hey, I'm right here. This is where I'm at all the time, and that was it.
Okay.
Nothing more. So you can use that on tape too, and you can bring the Spanish girl there too. I'm not going to keep on listening to this scam if every night I stay right next to my other vehicle.
All right, well.
You're running fabricated licenses too.
15, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, just put your hands behind your back.
No, I'm not letting you touch me. I'm not letting you.
You're gonna get tased. Put your hands behind your back. I'm gonna tase you.
Don't touch
Put
me.
your hands behind your
Don't
back.
touch me. Don't touch me.
Your hands behind your back now.
Don't touch me. I swear to God. If you taste me,
on the ground. On the ground. So I want to force hands behind your back.
Oh, he's dead. He killed him.
Start right side. Hands behind your back now.
I swear to God.
Hands behind your back.
I swear to God.
Hands behind your back now. Put your hands behind your. I'm gonna tase you again. I'm gonna tase you again. Hands behind your back. I'm gonna tase you again. Hands behind your back now. Put them behind your back.
He went to the ground still arguing, saying he didn't do anything and insisting deputies were lying. They secured him, sat him up to keep him off the pavement, and called for EMS to check the taser probes and minor scrapes. Throughout, Andy continued addressing the body cams, alleging broader misconduct and insisting he'd been available every day.
I didn't do nothing to you. I swear to you, man, I'm gonna sue these people for all of this you did to me. I swear to you, I'm gonna pay you for it.
Come on, Andy.
Have a seat.
Please, make it easy for us.
I didn't do nothing to you people, I swear to God. I didn't do
Prop him up. Enjoying your vacation? I figured we were going to have to drag him across, so I just took this out. I don't know if you want to put it in the bed. The season now?
Yeah, I guess so.
Ambulance is already on the way, so. Andy, say something. We got ambulance on the way, all right, Andy?
We'll get you on the ambulance, okay?
Get you going.
Could have all been avoided, man.
No, he's fine. He's just spitting.
He's all right.
He's in the recovery position. He's fine.
You want to sit up or stay like you're laying? All right.
He's breathing.
All the probes are already out, so
Yeah.
just put them on there and one of us follow. Sit up. Pavement, that's your own choice, buddy. I'm just trying to help you sit up so you don't have to have your head on the concrete. That's what you choose, buddy. That's fine.
Andy, would you like to get off the pavement?
Want to sit up and get your head off the pavement? It's hot. You want me to sit you up? Come on, sit up, man. Could have been avoided, dude. All you had to do was just let us deal with this. Could have been done a lot easier, man. You can lean against right here. You can lean against my leg, okay?
This could have been avoided. It's a lot easier for you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you wouldn't have done what you did, this would have been a lot easier.
Now, I'm doing what I did.
Okay, then that's fine.
That's what you're going to say to me now?
You want to get inside the car? What are you doing?
I want to stand up, dude.
Back at the car, deputies coordinated with Enterprise for recovery. The paper trail was straightforward. No further payments after January 12. Ignored notices in vehicle overdue by months. With the scene stabilized, deputies transported Andy and cleared the Corolla. Andy was charged with felony grand theft of a motor vehicle and misdemeanor resisting an officer. He later pleaded no contest to both, had adjudication withheld, and received 2 years probation with conditions. Within a week, he violated probation. A warrant was issued, and he was arrested again. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant, friends.